Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So first of all, quick shout out to Austin Whitsitt, subscribe today. Also John Kays, DL Hill, Julian Jeremiah, Maxi Tyken, Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Sampson, Maris, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Open Minded, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, The Real Gabster, Windrider, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I'm going to hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
I don't know if I said this. I couldn't have because I found out in the afternoon. Anyway, I'm working in a job in Brooklyn, and I just happened to pass by where my father, where he grew up, where he was raised, the same projects that he was in. And his sister still lived there, my Aunt Blanche, who I haven't seen in years. So I passed the house, and I'm reminiscing, and I said, you know what? I'll call my older brother Anthony, and I'll find out exactly what apartment she's in, and I'll visit her. So I made up my mind. I go about my day, I'm working. Then my wife calls me, maybe within 2 hours later. She's like, did you hear what happened to your Aunt Blanche? I said, no, but I'm like working right where she grew up, and I think she still owns the place here. I'm going to go see her. She said, well, she died in a car accident Sunday morning on the way to see her son. She was in an Uber. So she was going to the airport to visit her son in Florida, and boom. But I had no idea of that, and I was going to go see her. Is that coincidence?
When did your wife find out the news?
Yesterday, right before she called me.
Yeah, then if she had found out the news a day later or 2 days before, what would you call that?
Nothing.
Right, because she died on Sunday. You found out yesterday, Tuesday, right?
But it's not weird that I was thinking about seeing her?
No, you're in the same area. You have memories. You know, everything is about memories for people.
Yeah, but I haven't been in this area. What's the odds of me going to work in this area on that day?
What's the odds? You had a job there. That's the odds.
Okay, so nothing spooky about it?
Well, it's just memories. Like when you hear a song, don't you remember how old you were, where you were when you heard the song?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you're trying to make something out of nothing, Neil. That's the problem.
That don't seem weird to anybody. Well, it seems weird to me.
Why is it weird? It happens all the time. It's weird if it happened once, but it happens to me all the time.
There is a name for it, Neil. When two events coincide at the same time. Do you know what you call that?
Synchronicity.
Coincidence. Also known as coincidence.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Nathan, he's the guy who brought up the hat on the bed.
I know that was addressed to me, but I thought Neil would react to that.
I'm here, but I'm patching, and my patch is going off. Like if you don't, if you don't move immediately, this patch like goes off, and then you're stuck with a pile of hard concrete. I'm listening. I just think it's a little more. I don't know what it is, but it's a little more.
All right. Tell us when you know, because it happens to me quite often. Like yesterday, in the evening time, sat at the desk in my house. I was thinking of this guy I hadn't talked to for a while. I had left a text message for him. We haven't talked in a week and a half. I was wondering what's going on with him. And as soon as I think that thought, no less than 20, 30 seconds later, my phone is ringing with his name on it. Now, what would you call that? Well, I haven't seen him in a week and a half. I left a message yesterday, what's going on, and he called me at the time I was thinking about it.
This is what I'm talking about. Now, during this pandemic, whatever you want to call it, I could not get in touch with my barber for nothing. Nothing. My wife was cutting my hair. Then recently, I said, you know what? I'm going to call him. I got a good feeling that he's going to answer the phone today. So I call him, and sure enough, he's like, yo, I was just thinking about you. And then he told me a bunch of events that could not have been possible. Everything just like lined up. I don't know. Something weird is going on.
Nothing weird's going on. I hadn't seen the guy for a week and a half. I texted him a day ago, say, what's going on? And he called.
That's a week and a half. I'm talking over a year. I couldn't get in touch with this guy. A year.
Now we're going to the barber. Okay. All right, fine. Whatever you say.
You need a synchro mysticist. Somebody who, well, that's a title people give themselves. People who research synchro mysticism.
Oh, I thought you made it up.
No, well, unfortunately not.
But that was pretty good on the spot. I said that was pretty good from Nathan right there. Trademark 2021, Nathan Oakley.
No, this is actually a thing. Sync, they call it for short.
Must be very draining sessions.
I like to laugh off camera, because then you can choose whether or not you laugh with it because you get the joke, or you just hear a tumbleweed and don't know why.
Like
I got it, but I was patching drain. I know, I got it.
I was just plugging Nathan's show there, that's all.
Oh, plug-in. Okay, great. The other thing is, geez, now I forgot. Thank you very much. I was going to say something very important, and I totally forgot.
Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. This is what I wanted to say. I remember now. Don't take me off my train of thought. I had to turn down a job for Saturday because I misunderstood the guy. He told me, listen, you got to get tested. And I usually, sometimes in these places, they just take your temperature when you go in. I'm fine with that. No, they're telling me, no, I have to go in and get a swab put up my nose to check me for COVID before I work in a place. I put my foot down. I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. What, so they could tell me, oh, you're carrying it? No symptoms, but, you have it? Bull crap. Not doing it.
Yeah, I'm with you. If it comes to that for me and they're like, we need to shove this thing down your nose for you to do this thing, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing that thing then.
From what I understand, you could give a COVID test to a freaking peach and it could come back positive. Now, I know there's got to be something else with it, but I understand what they're getting at.
Look, there were reports that the swabs themselves, unused, were showing COVID. So don't even go for that.
Yeah, this reasoning just annoys me. So one report says one thing, another report says another. You're just going to pick which one you like the look of?
Yeah, and then they came in, I think it's called PCR.
Yeah?
So
they
have the PCR.
You missed my point totally. Okay, fine.
Oh, I'm sorry, go on. No, go on.
So, the media says tomorrow men didn't land on the moon. yesterday they said they did. So we go, look, the media says it. It's like, if somebody's been proven to be a liar and they tell the truth, unfortunately they lose all credibility and you have to find a different, more credible source. You don't just say, oh, look, this liar is now aligning with my version of events. So I'll cite this liar, who I know has lied to me frequently. Media are liars, we all know that. Even if you're not on the debate in terms of the nature of reality, people know the media lies. So what, when the media presents a different piece of information that's not necessarily been researched or verified, you're just going to say, well, that aligns with my narrative, so I'll cite it.
Yeah, the citation that I'm citing is from people who have never said two sides of the same argument, though. It's the ones that are being shut down and can't get their story out. So if the same source said both stories, yeah, I see your point. Anyway, we know what's coming.
Do we?
And the people are going to rise up at the critical moment, or it's over. That's real simple. The breaking point hasn't arrived yet.
Okay, I won't ask.
Yeah, we'll all know.
Nathan, do you think it's coincidence that you have two Christians on a flat earth debate show with you? You think that this is just by chance? We're going to Christianate you yet.
What are you talking about?
Christianate? Is that a word?
I don't know. It
Yeah,
sound like a pop fish drink.
No, when I was away in, I think I was in Rikers at the time. No, it might have been upstate, in prison upstate. Me and this other guy were witnessing to this other guy who was a gangster. He had family in that line. And one day he just got up, he said, CO, get me away from them. They're trying to Christianate me. And it was just hysterical.
I looked it up. It is actually a word. Christianate. To indoctrinate with Christianity. There you go.
I trust you. He did not know it was a word.
It wasn't a word. I just made that up. That was a total lie. I haven't looked anything up.
Come on, Nathan.
So
you're messing with my mojo.
Nathan just proved this previous statement. When someone lies about something, then tells another story. Anyway, back to flat Earth and physics here.
Nobody's biting from Discord. Everyone's off mute.
Can't make straight on a globe, Discord. Can't make straight on a globe. What a line.
I repeated it back to him, didn't I?
Yeah, what an admission.
Well, I knew something was wrong when people were trying to tell me that I level floors, and I don't realize, but I'm going from the center of the earth to get it level. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you don't do that. You know what you do in your job, right, Neil? And you don't do that.
I do not measure from the center of the earth. Trust me, I don't.
Well, neither do they. Neither do they. But they measure from the surface, which is flat, and it's measurable. And then they say, we need to say we got this from the center, so let's go and presuppose we're on a globe. Not that you are on one, but you presuppose you are. And if we say we get it from the center of the earth to the center of the sun or the star we're sighting with the sextant, and we write those words down, that you're really measuring from the center of the earth, not the surface. But what if they ask, but I'm on the surface? Yeah, then we'll say, light comes in parallel, so it doesn't matter if it's from the center or the surface, the angles will all match up. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, but they don't.
No, they don't.
They don't because it's not that they don't, it's that they can't do that. You know, you can't get triangulation measurements unless you've got a flat bottom to the triangle that you're using. And as much as I think Varus wanted to brace against it and say, well, each of these individual stars with their GP below them are all humps. And you're like, well, number one, that doesn't make a sphere shape if they're all just humps. You've got 3 lumpy bits, but it's not done like that. If they were lumps, then you'd have a curved line between you and it, and you couldn't triangulate it because that's not what a triangle is. So that's why there were so many concessions from him, because you can only look at it in one way when you're doing what you do with triangulation, and that way is set in stone, done for centuries. There's no arguing with it, and what you're going to do, brace against it and go, no.
Well, you have to redefine what an angle is.
Somebody came up with it, I can't remember, someone from Discord, like bendy triangle, bend diangle or something like that. I can't remember what it was. Brilliant.
Kind of like bend horizontal.
It was like that, but it wasn't that. It was something unique.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Whoever it was, if you remember who you were and you're watching this, leave it in the comment section so I can laugh at it again. Got another video that's coming out tonight, which is no, not tonight, tomorrow morning. I suppose it is tonight for you. Which is looking at that discussion we had yesterday about experts with Tommy Hench.
Mm-hmm.
What makes an expert for the globe? What makes an expert in this arena, flat Earth?
I like what you did there yesterday.
So did I.
Because the colleges and universities don't have a flat Earth department. So, okay, we'll take it then.
Well, that's the
I
thing.
love it when Zinda gets upset and starts cursing at you.
Good morning, Zender cursing. Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
But that's the thing. It's one thing as a minority group to say, yeah, I'm going to consider myself an expert in this very, very tiny little corner of this YouTube community. You know what I mean? It's not like there's many people to pick from, to pick expert levels in. It's a limited group of people. By contrast to how many people come out of universities having done astrophysics courses each year? A lot more than have got a reasonable justification for declaring expertise in flat Earth, I can assure you of that. But nevertheless, we have to put up with the dregs of society who just deem themselves experts. It's like, hold on, you're deeming yourself experts in an arena that actually has got creditable experts and university courses that you can go through and then call yourself an expert at the end. And people do it year in, year out. But what we've just got to deal with you self-appointing yourself as an expert when there are real experts in your field of globe belief. No, that's not satisfactory at all. So where are these experts? These people that have gone through university and paid their coin to get an expert qualification and literally the contrasting view that we hold. Where are they? Why do we have to deal with the faceless, nameless potatoes and the cartoons and the dregs that just label themselves experts? Why do we have to deal with that crap when there's actual experts who they appeal to all day long?
Exactly, well, Nathan. And I'm gonna send a video to you from Dave Weiss because I've been binging his interviews because I just want to see normal people talk about this topic. And one of the things that, like, he has these clips, right? So 3 years ago, like, he posts a video, like, from one of Neil deGrasse Tyson's shows. I think it's Star Talk. And when you listen to him basically tell us why it's not flat and why it's a globe, he sounds like every trench level globe. I couldn't believe it. Like when I saw it in this one episode, because they never talk about why, they never take the anti-flat Earth position. They do it in tiny little spurts. But in this one show, he's addressing flat Earth, and I'm like, oh, you're an anti-flat Earther. Wow. You're an
did he? Hold on. That's very specific what defines someone as an anti-flat earther. An anti-flat earther would be somebody that takes a stance that is actually in opposition to the globe position. And I'm going to give you an example. So Neil deGrasse Tyson says there's 2 reference frames Earth turns under a football, We say, no, Earth would also turn under a hot air balloon. Enter anti-flat earther who says the same as us. Earth doesn't turn under a hot air balloon, but then points that at us like we're claiming that it should. That's an anti-flat earther.
Okay, you're right. So I take back the tag for anti-flat earther and call him straight up Numpty. The King Numpty.
Numpty Globehead. Yeah, he's a Globehead priest. But I would expect him to stay in line with the rhetoric always. If you can find me an example of an anti-flat earth rhetoric coming out of him where he actually contradicts himself, that's not the way this has been set up. It's been set up the way it's been set up, which is to have us challenged by only the dregs, self-appointed experts, not the actual experts, because we can overcome their arguments very easily. So they need trench-level anti-flat earthers who actually assert the same thing as us against the globe, but they redirect it towards us.
What about when he says in one interview, he's trying to explain how Earth cannot be flat because all the other planets are spherical, so how could Earth be flat?
That's a non sequitur.
Where would that fall under?
Well, that's a numpty. Yeah, that's not an anti-flatter. I get what Nathan's saying.
The non sequitur fallacy.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Does he know of the argument? Does he know that we don't hold on to a solar system? Does he know that it's been debunked?
No, and he doesn't need to. That's the point I'm making. The people who know that the solar system's been debunked or they don't have our horizon can literally come here and say, we wouldn't expect to see a geometric horizon. Now, can you imagine in your wildest dream someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson saying, bearing in mind the geometric horizon is Earth curve, him saying we don't see the geometric horizon, the geometry of a sphere Earth. We don't see Earth curve. Can you imagine him taking that stand? Flat earthers say we don't see Earth curve. Anti-flat earthers tell us, flat earthers, we wouldn't expect to see Earth curve.
It's funny, I can't imagine that because literally in this video, it's almost like he has our arguments on his tongue. For saying, well, back before Galileo and back in Christopher Columbus' time, they didn't have a scientific method for establishing, the facts. So basically, they just had to believe things, and that's what he was trying to point on to us.
One thing he said was, geometric means
Earth measure. And then he went on to talk about the horizon and ships disappearing beyond it. So I was like, oh, yeah, he's a straight up glober. He's never, at least to the public eye, he's never been exposed to the counters to the points he's making. He's still doing what I would think a heliocentric priest would do, which is stick to the rhetoric.
Right, he's sticking to the rhetoric. The actual globe rhetoric, which we can debunk. Now, do we face those people? Experts, that is, here. No, we do not. What we get is the trench-level fundy anti-flat earthers demanding that they need more fairness against this minority that we are. You're like, you're not an expert. Why do you suddenly demand that you need neutral territory? You're in the majority. You've got every person backing you, but you think you need more to combat us. You need more concessions. You're like, what are you talking about? We're in the minority. The problem comes that they need to put their rhetoric with tactics. Obfuscation of the actual globe point that's being demolished. A reassertion of the point that makes a globe demolishment seem like an anti-flat earth claim that they don't understand. That's what they need to do. And that's done through interruption, fundy muting, all of the trench-level tactics that an expert would not employ. So they just keep the experts well away from us, shovel us into a little corner, and have anti-flat earthers deal with us, telling us, look, idiot, don't point out that we can't see Earth curve. We wouldn't expect to, okay? You're like, hold on, this is like some mafia movie with the bullies. Somebody points out an injustice, and they tell you that there was no injustice to be had in the first place. Yeah, killing people's not illegal, idiot. Didn't you know that? You don't understand that illegal activity isn't illegal. Do you understand me? You understand that wasn't wrong. You just don't understand how it's right. You got me? That's what they're doing to us. So, Example by the current situation with Neil deGrasse Tyson and Blue Marble. Neil deGrasse Tyson says Earth turns beneath. We point out Earth doesn't turn beneath, it would turn beneath a hot air balloon. And Blue Marble comes along and goes, you don't understand. Earth doesn't, our point, turn under hot air balloons. Like, that's our argument. Yeah, don't make that argument. Like, what, your globe argument? Yeah, because that's not true. Like, why are you telling me a globe argument's not true? No, it's not that the globe argument's not true. You don't understand the globe argument, because the globe argument isn't Coriolis deflection to reference frames. It's conservation of momentum. Do you understand? You're like, what? Coriolis effect is not conservation of momentum. They are two totally different things. Globes claim to have Coriolis effect, Earth turning beneath. No, it's not. You don't understand. It doesn't turn beneath. Cut to Neil deGrasse Tyson. And the Earth turned beneath and it went in and deflected off the goalposts. Like, here's your priest saying it deflects underneath. No, you just don't understand. That's what we get.
So let me ask you a question, because that was a good analogy, because the mafia would say, they would justify a murder by saying, well, he's in the life. He knows what life he's in, so therefore it's not murder.
Yeah, so they hustle you and go, didn't you understand he was part of the life? And you're like, no, the guy was killed. No, you're not getting it. He bought into that life. You don't understand. No, I watched him being shot. No, you don't understand he's part of the life. Do you not understand it? Because if you don't, your job's going to be at risk. If you don't understand how what you have pointed out as being wrong is actually right. You get me? That's what we get from anti-flat earthers day in, day out. None of the experts. There's people going through universities and paying money to become experts in this crap about the globe. Where the hell are they? Why is it just the mafia coming round to the flat earthers? Why do we need the thugs being sent to us? It's because we know how wrong it really is. So they're never going to send the actual people claiming this crap. Just keep us shuffled into a corner with the thugs.
That's outstanding, Nathan.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, Elijah, Chocolate Saying, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
Arwen.
Hello.
And are we?
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Where's Chocolate? Did I miss Chocolate? Is chocolate not here?
No,
Did
you
I just
said
imagine
chocolate.
that?
He's not here.
I just imagined that chocolate was here and he's not. So shout out to chocolate. It's because I was listening to his rap that he just dropped into the middle of a live show yesterday, just before we came on. So that's probably why I'm thinking chocolate's here when he's not.
In about 3 minutes, you'll have a coincidence.
Yeah, Neil's looking for some hippie voodoo stuff. But that said, it's around a death, so we've got to be kind of careful about how much we rib him for it. So there we go.
Never mind
It
chocolate
just
joins.
seems weird to me, that's all.
Never mind chocolate joins the show on a regular basis, though.
No, he's been late. I don't care what Nathan says. He's late.
He's working.
So
do-
am I.
Should do a bit of housekeeping. We've been kicking off
Yes.
with axial rotation the last few days.
Well, you need R for that, right?
That's true. Let's start there. Anybody got any evidence of the R value? That would be Earth radius.
Well, these astrophysicists with their diplomas, they're going to have to turn them in because it's all based on R. So it's pseudoscience. Since there's no R, there are no astrophysicists that have a
Well,
Well done.
good diploma.
Well, there's this conspiracy going around, right? Around R. Because, when I was a kid, Big R was a very nice supermarket and they got rid of that. Then Toys R Us, what happened to that? Now the radius of Earth's R is gone too. What am I to do, Nathan?
Are you kidding me?
Are you joking?
Yeah. It wasn't a good joke?
7-Eleven was a part-time job, people. Wake up.
Yeah, it was a good one, Elijah. I liked it.
So, R, that destroys Earth radius, gravity, molten iron core, Earth curvature. Did I say axial rotation? Distance to all the celestial objects. Anything else it debunks? We've just said just one sec. I've had 10th take what was discussed and sort of verbalized as it was on the fly by Father of a Stolen Child yesterday, which is taking all of the housekeeping questions and boiling them down as much as possible to just say, you need R for that. Now, a week ago we were saying we can't really do that for any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. But 10th just took it one step further. So he formulated it into a nice bit of logic instead of just sort of explaining how they would require R and their fields are going to be extrapolating out from that R assumption. And if they don't have that R assumption, I'm paraphrasing what John said yesterday in summary. But 10th man, kudos. You just took that one step further. Can you repeat what you just said if you can remember it? I don't know if it just came off the top of your head.
No, I remember it. Basically, all these people with their diplomas, we're talking about, in universities, they have these classes, and you can get a diploma in astrophysics. Well, it's all based on an R that's not there. So what is their diploma worth if there's no R?
There's no R in diploma.
You need to figure a way of memorising what 10th man's just said. Because that is the answer, as far as I'm concerned, the best answer to date to the question, is there any evidence or any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? That is the best answer today. I'm going to give equal props to Father of a Stolen Child, though. So if you're listening, John, props to you. Not demeaning what 10th man's just done. Epic. All round. It's just a testament to how top quality my panel is.
I agree, but I said that the other day.
Okay. I agree. You probably did. You're all ace. I'm not taking that away if you did, Neil. Great. But that is, what we were discussing was how can we get from you don't have R because we've debunked it with the black swan to, viable hypotheses from any of those fields. And, we had a 2 or 3 minute discussion with John about it, and he had to disappear for whatever reason. He did say he was going to drop. But I was like, yeah, that's sort of 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 steps. Oh, Adam's perked up. Hey, Adam, something perked up your interest. Subscribe today to the shitest title ever given to a YouTube channel, and that would be What Space is the Space little w, large O, R, L, D. What is the world? Did I say that right?
Well, that's close enough.
Close enough. Even after I've looked at it for... I can't even get it right myself when I'm plugging it. Please, can you plug the title correctly?
What, with a capital W, question mark, and then in uppercase is the, then in lowercase w, uppercase O, RLD, all in lowercase. What is the world?
That is absolutely horrendous. Please, for the love of Jesus Christ, can you just change it to capital W, what, space, capital I, is, space, capital T, the, space, capital W, world, and no question mark.
Well, that won't be the same as my logo.
You can keep the logo with its nonsensical alliteration or whatever it's called, but you need it to be typable into a search engine, right? Now, I've made multiple attempts to find you. Yesterday, right, I had to go into the browser rather than YouTube app, which is all I ever use, on the iPad, to go to the listings of my channel, to go to the subscriptions of my channel, to scroll through all 500 of them, to get to W, to find you, to find your premiering stream, to plug it in my own show. It took 2 or 3 minutes.
I shall make an effort this afternoon to...
just please copy and paste it, put it in chat so I don't go through the misery that Nathan went through.
Well, outside of the syntax then, how did you find that one out?
Excellent. Excellent. I had to watch it in stages because I was getting kids jumping on me and stuff, but... Oh, who's feeding me back? Is it you, Adam? Turn your speakers down a bit. Turn your speakers down a little bit. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, very good. I especially like the parts with me in.
Well, that last demolition I thought was fantastic, actually, the way you... Because, I'd asked you for the perspective hijacking, and that's what I was going to use, but then I'd obviously just watching bits, and that summary where you bother to put the camera back onto yourself and summarize after what was probably quite a frustrating hour with Mick.
Did I do that straight after?
I don't know. It's within that lock. So for you to come, I thought it was brilliant. So that's why I used that instead, because it was a lot fuller description of what was going off as opposed to just ridicule of the... I
must have done... I wasn't editing anything back then. So in other words, for that to be a summary on the end of that Mick West video, that must have meant, man, I'd never do that now. I turned on the camera and just addressed the camera after a really heated debate with Mick West. That is pretty much that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
I would never do that now.
That's right at the end, you see, because I've gone through all the bits, edited bits out to get to that point, and then I'm kind of thinking, well, that'll do. Okay, I'll see what I... And then you just pop up, stick yourself on there, and give a fantastic, succinct summary of what's just gone off, which is beautiful.
Yeah, like I say, normally I'm pouring with sweat, or there's a window cleaner outside the window, or there's a kid bursting in these days, or something like that. So yeah, that probably wouldn't happen now. Anyway, so in regards to housekeeping, 10th man's done almost too good a job by asking me to start with R and then pointing out that we haven't got any Earth curve, axial rotation, presupposed centre of Earth with a molten iron core, distance to stars, distance to the sun, gravity, or really any scientific fields that are globe orientated because of that question coming first. So thanks for that, 10th man. You kind of did away with all housekeeping.
Well, John got onto it first, so kudos to John.
It's a team effort. He discussed it with us. Yeah, it takes the brightest sparks sometimes to come up with an original idea in those regards. But he was challenged to it, though. And that, again, you would have been a part of, 10th. So you'd have been there while we were discussing, can you actually link all of these things to R without it being a bit non sequitur to just say, you need R for that. What, any viable hypothesis from a particular field? I don't think that's reasonable to say you need R for that in answer to the question.
Well, I was there when he did it, and I remember that. And then you said, well, that's more than one step. And then we're talking about astrophysicists and their degrees and what is their subject matter expert title about. Well, it's nothing if there's no R.
So that's something that's coming out to... Go ahead.
They need R to make the question, isn't it?
One more time, George.
Without the R, without the R, they cannot beg the question of what the celestial bodies are doing. And we include us as well as a celestial body. So they need R in order to beg the question.
Precisely. They need R for their imaginary celestial sphere, which has an R.
That's correct. For the longest time, I was crediting Validation Boy for this, and QE pointed out after the fact, after about a year of me crediting him, that it was him that he got it from. But every single claim to be globe proof starts with the assumption that you are on a sphere to begin with. And there are no exceptions. Again, I used to say 99% of, because I thought there's got to be one exception where they don't beg the question, right? I don't want to leave myself no wiggle room. Now I can put a hand on heart and say 100% of the time, every single claim to be globe proof starts with the presupposition, that is the automatic belief that you're already on a sphere when you start making your example.
Except when I do it.
No, that has no exceptions. Go.
No, I don't start
Go.
out with it. I end.
Not going to argue. Go ahead.
Right. First, you derive the equator line through the celestial angular relations.
Okay, stop. Stop. No, don't just brush through them. We've got to see thoroughly if any of these beg the question. At this stage, what is the equator? At this stage.
Well, you still have to first create it based on the angular relations of the heavenly bodies.
It's not what I asked.
So
what is it?
Anything.
What is it?
How do you call it again? A convention at that point. Right?
So why are we doing it again?
It's an imaginary
I don't know.
line.
Why don't you let me finish and you'll find out?
Well, you've got to know what. Hold on. I can say go out and walk 150 miles in a particular direction, and you go, well, why are we doing that? And I go, well, you might find out. And you're like, what are you talking about? You've got to do it for a purpose. You know that at this stage you must beg the question, and you're just not doing it. You're like thinking you're clever by going, oh, well, I just won't actually say the presupposition that will be required later at this stage. So at this stage, either you say, well, I'm measuring the outside edge of a sphere, or you say, I'm measuring an arbitrary point on the ground that is the midpoint between the seasonal movements of the sun. Well, that's just an arbitrary point on the ground and doesn't give you anything at this stage unless you beg the question. So where are you going to go next, Darwin?
Well, after that's been done, after, not before, then you start to suggest, okay, so what could this line up to? Well, with the sites surrounding you, you could model it in your mind as that you're actually standing on a globe, and the globe of the heavens.
Well, there it is. What are you talking about?
Surrounding you.
Sorry, there it is. So
yeah,
again,
afterwards.
Owen, we did this last time. Right. Just inserting the presupposition after making an observation or taking a measurement doesn't change that it's a presupposition. So likewise, you can say, I'm going to task completely brain dead people who have no concept whatsoever of what an equator is to make the measurements. And then using the data, I can then, and listen carefully, presuppose they've been done on a sphere. Now you might say, I've done it afterwards. How can it be a presupposition? No, Arwin, no.
No, that's not what I said. No, you said it starts out with a presupposition. That's the part I'm correcting. I'm not saying that a presupposition is not a presupposition. It is. You just don't have to start out with that.
Yeah, you do.
Very nitpicky here.
Yeah, you do. Doesn't matter how you apply it before or after measurements have been taken. It's still a presupposition. Because the purpose of you at that stage, after the measurements of the movements of this celestial object, right? After you've done that, what are you trying to achieve? You're trying to prove Earth's a sphere. So if you say, well, if I assume that I'm taking these measurements from a spherical surface, I'll prove a spherical surface? But for the fact that you've assumed a spherical surface, nothing's giving you that information at this stage. But for the fact that you're going to presuppose it.
Well, that depends on if you're going to do all that specifically to prove a ball, or if you're just going to try out the test to figure out what is the most likely orientation, right? So
Yeah, that's
no,
fine.
you don't necessarily have to presuppose a ball in your mind beforehand to do it.
Yeah. No,
But
that's
you
fine.
could-
No,
you could.
okay, that's fine. So you're not going to necessarily presuppose a ball. That's fine. Okay, so once you've done your measurements of, we're going to call it the equator, no problem. We'll give it that title. But where'd you go to the ball from here then? Without presupposing it like you just did.
Well, you take the data for what it's worth, the angular orientations, the interconnections, and then you just try to puzzle it out. What is the most likely thing that comes up in my mind that this is representing? What is the data representing? And then one might come to the conclusion that it could be a ball.
And
It's
how would they do?
representing an angle.
And how would they do that? I mean, I can come to the conclusion that those measurements mean we're on a roast chicken, but unless you actually explain why the person has come to the conclusion after deriving a position that's non-existent on the ground by the way of midpoints of seasonal movements of the sun, that's what you've done so far, yeah? And then I say, well, some might deduct that we're on a chicken. Well, why, Alwyn?
If the Earth's shape orientation and the surrounding celestials give you the impression that you are standing on a geometrically shaped, chicken-shaped Earth, then yeah, sure, you could do that.
Yeah, okay.
Does it?
No.
Does it actually
Okay.
seem like that?
Yeah. So what would give you that impression about these measurements, Alwyn?
The angular correlations of the heavenly lights and the surface.
Correlation with what? Here we go. Here it comes.
What? The angular correlations with the heavenly bodies and the surface of the Earth.
Still not getting to a sphere with that, though. So what? What
That's
about
right.
those correlations?
I don't know, but we've discussed a whole elaborate process.
And we've not once got to the sphere being proven. We've got several attempts at you saying you could deduce it, and you've presupposed it, but nothing you have described whatsoever has given any indication of sphericity so far. So far, we've talked a lot about looking at stuff in the sky, taking measurements of the sun and where it is at certain points in the year. Wonderful stuff. But none of it's indicated sphericity, Alwyn.
That's right.
So unless we beg the question, this was the original point you disagreed with, this isn't going to be proving a sphere then?
Not yet.
Not yet, not at all, unless you beg the question. That's the point we're making. Nice for you to take us through the rigmarole of looking at things and doing stuff and measuring stuff, but never actually getting to the point where it proves a sphere, and occasionally introducing the idea that it correlates with a sphere, or presupposing that you've made the measurements on a sphere, but for those presuppositions and assumptions, you never actually get to anything spherical with these observations, do you?
Well, except for the celestial lights, that is seemingly very spherical. So yeah, this could all lead to the conclusion that you might be standing on a sphere
Why?
with some mental flexibility, of course.
Don't talk about mental flexibility. I don't need that, right? Stop.
Nathan,
I don't need mental flexibility. I just need to know how you're now drawing the same non sequitur fallacy that NDT draws when he's like, well, look at those lights in the sky. They look pretty round, right?
Right, but look,
Right,
I'm not...
so, shout out to David Weiss. So if you're in the forest surrounded by trees, are you a tree?
I like to think of myself as one sometimes.
Well,
yeah.
you might like to think of yourself as being a tree while you're in the forest because you're surrounded by trees, and if everything around you is a tree, you're a tree. If everything around you's circular lights, then you're a circular light. No.
Nathan, you got a man who wants to speak. He's got
I
evidence.
want to finish this point. Don't get in between there.
I'm sorry, Alwyn.
I thought-
I'm going to have to cut you off, though, because we've done this to death. Go ahead, whoever it was that wanted to interject.
I think he's on mute.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, the man. Good to have
Oh,
you.
are we there?
We are.
Thank you very much. I have a very quick question. Wondering why, when evidence is provided, it's not accepted. So, for example, when a person says, "I need evidence," say, for example, of a photo from space, then a photo from space is shown, and that is not enough be the evidence required. So it seems that there is never enough evidence provided to be to satisfy the flat Earth question, if you understand what I'm saying.
Has this happened? When did this happen?
I mean, when has there been a photo from space?
No, you've given an example where you're postulating that no evidence is good enough, and you've given an example of a photo from space, but I'm asking for an example of somebody saying that's not good enough with a hand wave dismissal, which is kind of what you've implied, unless you don't know our argument in regards to pictures from space, which you may not.
I may not. I don't have a lot of experience in this area. I've spoken to some flat earthers in the past. I'll give you a concrete example, though, as someone who is not experienced in this world. 24 hours of daylight in Antarctica.
No, stop.
Being evidence of a globe.
Stop. Don't scattergun us. Pictures from space, right? Let's stick with that. That was your opener.
Sure.
So, go ahead, present your evidence. Nobody here has told you nothing's good enough. That hasn't happened yet. Don't preempt it. Just see how you get on.
Okay. Well, let me just state. Let me state, like, specifically, why is the Himawari 8 satellite imagery not good enough evidence?
Perfect.
It's not a photograph.
Perfect.
It's a composite digital.
It's a composite. That's the first issue. Did you know it was a composite?
Multiple images.
Sorry. Okay. So this Himawari, I don't know. I've not been on it. Have you been on it? Presumably not. Is it like something you can go to?
Well, obviously it's not somewhere you can go to, but that doesn't mean it's not.
No worries.
It's not accurate.
Why not?
Because that's a ridiculous argument.
Sorry, I'm asking if I can go there. You're saying I can't. Why not?
I can't go to the Mariana Trench either.
Sorry, am I asking about the Mariana Trench, or I'm asking specifically about something that you've said takes a photograph? So what's the problem here? I'm asking you a question. You say we can't go there. Why not?
Because I don't have access to a satellite in space.
Space? Where's that?
My question was what
did you hear my question, or do you need to have a new question asked of me? Because I'm asking about your example. We're just going through your example, mate. I'm asking you about your example, and you seem to want to launch into questions of me. We're asking you about your space example with your picture from something called the Himawari. Why are you interrupting me? I'm trying to summarise your point. Is that a problem for you?
Sure.
It's not rhetorical. Is it a problem for me to summarise your point that we're asking you about, or do you not want to defend your own point? What's the problem? Why are you interrupting me?
I'm literally not stating. I'm saying a word. I'm listening.
Okay, while I'm talking, please can you pop yourself on mute so you're not tempted to sort of nod along and cut the line and cause audio chaos. It's a live show, so obviously there's certain things we have to do here. Thank you very much. So, all I'm trying to establish is, why can't we get visitation rights to this satellite? And you've said I haven't got access to the equipment that gets you to space. I've gone, okay, space, what's that? Where is it? That's where we're at so far. And then you launched into asking me something. So please can I have an answer to my question? Just trying to figure out what your evidence is. You said space, we can't go there. What is space?
Well, that's not my question, and you said you were...
That's my question about your fucking evidence, right? You're going to piss me off royally if you don't just answer my question. Where's space? What is it?
Space is beyond our atmosphere. As I said, I'm not...
okay, thank you.
I'm not a scientist.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't need to know what you're not. Beyond our atmo, that means air. You realise atmo is air, yeah?
Sure, if you say
and
so.
Sphere, air. That's an oxymoron. You see, air doesn't take... Do you not understand the bit where I said when I'm talking, could you pop yourself on mute so we don't have to hear you rustling? Did that not compute? Are you slow?
All right,
Are you slow?
No,
just stick yourself... Don't need a reply, it's rhetorical. I mean, stick yourself on mute while I'm talking. Hello? Are you slow? Are you slow?
No,
waiting for you to go on mute because you keep talking through me. Hello?
I'm asking you a question.
Are you slow? I'm not asking you a question. I haven't got to the end of my statement. You just keep rustling around in the background off mute when I've asked you twice to go on mute when I'm talking. It's not unreasonable. What's your problem?
Zero problems.
Just go on mute then while I'm talking. What's the issue?
None, other than this is the first time I've ever been on Discord.
I don't care. Find the mute button and press it. I'm running a live show, so your ignorance of this software doesn't concern me. There we go. Good lad. Right, excellent. So you've said atmosphere. I've already established, so rhetorical, you understand that atmo is air. Air, that's gases. Well, gases don't arbitrarily take sphere shapes. They take the shape of their container. So you're saying it's an area beyond sphere-shaped air. No. Sphere-shaped air doesn't exist. That's nonsense. Air takes the shape of its container because air is gas. We don't have sphere air. What are you babbling about? An area beyond sphere air? No, you're just talking nonsense.
Like I'm in now, is it okay?
I told you that you're talking nonsense. There's no such thing as sphere-shaped air.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, you've just said it's an area beyond the sphere-shaped air. I've pointed out that we haven't got sphere-shaped air, and you say that's fine. So this satellite's in an area beyond a non-existent sphere-shaped air. Is that why we can't go there, perhaps? It's in an area that doesn't exist.
And have you say that I'm cutting you off. I'd like a chance to respond.
Shut the fuck up, you dumb globe-believing twat! You've told me this satellite's in an area beyond sphere-shaped air that doesn't exist. That makes your argument void, you dumb fuck. Do you hear me, Dumbo? Your argument's void, you dumb fuck.
Nathan, that wasn't...
Dumb fuck! Your argument is now void. This satellite exists in an area beyond an imaginary sphere-shaped air. No. There's no such place beyond sphere-shaped air, Fundy Interrupter, who thinks that you're going to get to jabber and witter when I've demolished your argument about pictures from a place that doesn't exist. There's no area beyond sphere-shaped air, idiot.
I respond yet. I'm happy to let you keep talking, but I also don't want to interrupt.
I don't give a fuck what you want. I've just taken your shitty argument to pieces.
Well, it's...
Stutter for me, bitch! Your argument about an area beyond sphere-shaped air is now void. Do you understand that I didn't just hand-wave away your shitty pictures from space? I took apart the region you claim they came from. That would be an area beyond sphere-shaped oxymoron atmosphere. So, I have just taken a big shit on your claim that we have pictures from an area that doesn't exist beyond sphere-shaped oxymoron air. Clear?
So, my question was...
I don't give a fuck about your question. I've just taken a shit on your claim of pictures from space. Now, you told us as your opener that why don't you just accept these pictures? Well, I don't accept pictures from fake places. Don't you understand that? Why is it you're not acknowledging that I haven't hand-waved your shitty pictures from the Himawari 8 that you even admit yourself you can't visit? And when I say why can't you visit? Well, because it's beyond sphere-shaped air. Well, that's taking your argument to pieces, but yet you want to move on to questions for me? I want to know why you've presented this crap claim of a picture from beyond sphere-shaped air. Go.
I don't want to...
You're a stuttering bitch.
Nathan.
You're a stuttering little bitch now, aren't you? Yeah, you laugh it up, you fuckwit Fundy. You think you got question time for me now, dickhead? You told me I'd hand-wave your pictures, I didn't. I took apart your crap argument based on your stupid understanding that air takes the shape of a sphere. No, fuckwit, it takes the shape of its container. Do you not know how gas behaves? That'd be atmo. Atmo does not take sphere shapes.
What evidence could...
So what? It's on to a question from me? No, mate, you don't seem to understand what's happening here. You've claimed something, I've ripped it apart, and you don't seem to be acknowledging that fact.
What's the problem here, Nathan?
That you don't seem to understand that you've told me that we would hand-wave your argument. No, we didn't. I've got you to detail your argument with a lot of kind of confusion and obfuscation when I'm just trying to gain clarity on what you're claiming. That would be an area beyond air that's sphere-shaped, when air doesn't take the shape of its sphere, and you haven't acknowledged that once. That's the problem.
Is it because you're worried about the...
So I'm not worried about anything. I've taken apart your crap argument, now you're asking me about my concern level. Are you going to divine my thoughts next, Mystic Meg? Sorry, are you a psychic?
Yeah.
Sorry, are you a psychic? Divining my thoughts now, are we, Globetard? Sorry, why are you divining my thoughts? It's a direct question.
It's got to be a reason.
Sorry, why are you divining my thoughts and emotional level, you stupid quack?
There needs to.
Are you a fucking doctor? Because you're divining my thoughts at the moment.
So then the question naturally moves.
You keep thinking that you've got a question to ask. You presented crap evidence from a place that doesn't exist. Address that.
I'd like to understand how there can be 24 hours of sunlight.
Sorry, you're going to move on to the next point? Hey, Pat Britton, the guy I'm trying to talk to about debating people that are experts. This is what happens when you have a clown, not an expert. I point out his argument's wrong, doesn't acknowledge it, and wants to move on to his second argument. Why is it the case that you won't acknowledge my absolute demolition of your claim that you made here, that you said we'd hand wave and it just wouldn't be good enough? Why is it that you are scared to acknowledge that, my friend?
I haven't answered.
Oh, I haven't answered you? No, I took you through your claim and then took a shit on it. But you haven't answered me and my rebuttal to your claim. You haven't done that. You're going to tell me what I haven't done. I took you through your own claim step by step and then took it apart.
Are you able to answer the question about 24 hours of light in Antarctica on a...
I've interviewed a guy who's not experienced 24 hours of daylight in Antarctica. He spent 18 months there. Have you ever spoken to anybody ever that's been in Antarctica? Because I spoke to a chap who was a plumber on one of the rigs that's out there and spent 18 months there and categorically stated he didn't experience 24 hours sunlight. So, unless you've been in Antarctica and can top Robert Shortman's personal testimony that doesn't happen, I think we'll stick with your original claim that there's pictures of Earth from a sky vacuum outside sphere-shaped air. Because that's about the 12th time I've put it to you, and like a total coward, you haven't acknowledged it once.
I know at least a half dozen people who have lived and worked in Antarctica, and their claims would refute your experts.
Excellent. Where are they published?
Are they published?
Yeah, published? What, like actually prove what I've just claimed, even though I'm a nobody nobody's ever met, and I'm claiming somebody that nobody's met that hasn't met me is actually proof that there's actually a refutation to your claim of a guy who's actually on videotape saying it? Yeah, where's the videotaped evidence of this person's testimony that I can find? Where's the account published?
I can easily provide that for you. Are you suggesting, though...
Go on then. Now.
Therefore, it...
Go on then.
Are you suggesting...
Go on then. Let's see it. You said I can easily provide that for you.
Or it's true.
Sorry, are you going to ignore me?
No.
So go on then. Let's see it right now.
I can
stutter like a bitch, or you can provide it right now.
Well, I don't have it with me right now.
Oh, so you can't, you fucking lying scumbag shithead. So when you said you could provide it quite easily, you're actually fucking lying to us.
Someone says...
So you're a fucking liar. So you'd have had my audience believe that you could top Robert Shortman's videotape testimony of no 24-hour sun with something that you simply cannot provide, you fucking liar.
I can provide it for you.
Go on then.
Let's
see it then.
I know people.
Sorry, go on then.
Who have been
go on then. Go on then. Go on then. Let's see it.
Let's see it.
Sorry, are you going to repeat me saying I'd like you to do the thing you've just said you can done every single time I ask you to do it? Yes, you stupid brain-dead dick. I am asking you to do the thing you've said you can easily do.
You understand the theory of...
Sorry, you're going to start asking me about what I understand, you stupid idiot? Brain-dead globe believer? Because I've got personal testimony of someone from Antarctica that shits in the face of your claim that there's 24 hours of sun there. You've said I can top that very easily. And I say, go on then. And then you start asking me about what I understand. You're just a liar.
The people in your room don't understand.
So why are you attacking the people in this room when you have claimed that you've got evidence of people from Antarctica, and when I ask you to give it me, you can't? That makes you a liar. Because there's a very distinct difference between I can easily provide this and I cannot provide this. That makes you a scumbag liar.
You don't understand what the...
Stop telling me what I don't understand. If you do it again, I'm going to kick you out. Right? That's all you anti-flat earthers have. To tell me that I don't understand. What? The personal testimony of Robert Shortman, who spent 18 months in Antarctica, versus you can't provide a damn thing?
No, let's see what you're at.
You're a stuttering bitch! Now get the fuck off my show. I've had enough of you, stuttering little twat. Get the fuck off. I've had enough of you. Get lost.
He's Eto from Scarface. I don't have the money with me now. I got it close by.
Get lost. The moment you want to constantly tell me that I don't understand what? Sphere-shaped air? What? The testimony you can get easily but then can't get? These people are liars. That's your globe defender. There's another anti-flat earther joining the panel to tell me I don't understand. What? The very simplistic explanation I took you by the hand and took you through that you made? Yes, I did understand it because I took you by the hand and had you explain it to me. And then I ripped it to shreds. But it wasn't acknowledged once, was it now, ladies and gentlemen? Now this, if you're listening, Pat, is why I want a fucking expert. Not these faceless, nameless dicks who can come here and tell me I don't understand in the face of an absolute annihilation of their claim that they made very specifically clear because I made them make it clear. Yeah? Not some vague, wishy-washy description from some faceless cartoon that never gets actual clarity because it's come through the voice of many talking through each other. No, we got very clear clarity on what he was claiming. And every word was defined like atmosphere. But he didn't like it, did he? He wanted to tell me all about how I don't understand and move on to 24-hour sun he couldn't prove. Because atmosphere being annihilated, that's not going to get acknowledged even if I repeat it 50 times. Right? Yeah? You better start getting some fucking experts here, globe believers. Because that's the treatment you dicks, who are basically just nobody, you're 10 a penny. Yeah, everybody thinks they're on a sphere, so you are not special. Conspiracy cats. Simon Dan, George Rumpus, you are not special. You are just like the 7 billion other people out there. You have nothing to offer anybody. Yeah? Now, if you want to start defending your crap globe belief that the only thing you on the flat earth side actually do is fight against when you tell us there's one reference frame, when you tell us we wouldn't expect to see Earth curve, you're on our side. And that's how I'm going to take it from now on. The anti-flat earthers have got flat earther in their name for a reason. Because they're asserting our bloody arguments. Earth doesn't turn under a hot air balloon. We agree. Blue marble science, let's stand together. Because we both say the same thing, don't we? So why am I going to argue against you when you agree with me, one reference frame? I'm not. No point arguing with anti-flat earthers. They just like to turn globe arguments into anti-flat earth arguments so they can put them against us when they're not our claims. Well, I'm done with it. Yeah? I'm sick of hearing people presuppose that they've got a sky vacuum to get satellite imagery from when, well, where's a sky vacuum? Well, this air here that's gas at high pressure, just not expanding into this high vacuum, well, you know, it just arbitrarily takes the shape of a sphere, I assume, in violation of natural law. This second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum, where the gas isn't expanding into it, that's where the photos came from, Nathan. Outside the atmosphere. The sphere-shaped air without containment. No, it fucking didn't. And all you can do is chant that I don't understand and stutter like bitches when you come here.
And then he talks about the panel. I take that very personal. And they can't, Nathan, they can't acknowledge that because then they know they can't go anywhere else. So they just try to move past the atmosphere that you debunked to something else.
Talked about the panel as he snaps his own wig off. I could easily provide that. No, I don't got that. Sorry.
No, he said, I don't have it with me right now. He reminded me of the guy from Scarface. I don't have some money with me right now. He's close by.
He's close by.
Always a good sign when in the middle of the argument, he did that, which was to try and get one of us to dive in to rescue him with a distraction by just ad-homing us, wasn't it? Isn't he?
He's just put a blog up about day and night in Antarctica.
Of course. What, after ignoring?
After getting debunked.
So, no challenge in regards to what I said. There is personal testimony from Robert Shortman, who spent 18 months on a rig down there as a plumber. Now, his account does not include 24 hours of daylight. It does not include a sun moving around him 360 degrees, and that is personal testimony from somebody who's worked down there. Now, if in the face of that you're going to write a little blog, go ahead. Who are you? Where are you going to publish your little blog? Proving that you got mates who've been to Antarctica? Oh yeah, you're really credible there, dickhead. Like I care. When I asked you to give them us, you didn't. And that's all the audience is going to be concerned with. Did he have them? He said he had them. He said he could get them easily. Oh, you can't? All right, go and write a blog then. That's what we deal with. Liars. Just lied to you, audience. Where was the concession? Where was the continued discussion and rebuttal in regards to the atmosphere sphere-shaped air? Was there any rebuttal, ladies and gentlemen? Did he combat my objection in any way, shape or form, or did he prefer to move on to a different subject of 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Oh, I think you'll find he didn't in any way address my rebuttal about sphere-shaped air, atmosphere, in violation of natural law. No, that wasn't in any way addressed. Definitely wanted to be moved on from, though, didn't it? That's the tactics of an anti-flat earther now, isn't it? No concession to their shite globe argument that's indefensible. No, no, no! Tell the flat earther they don't understand about a different topic that we're moving on to.
I like when they come on innocent, like, oh, it's the first time I'm on Discord. They know exactly what they're doing.
I've just pulled up his defence. Shocking. It's a website called Oceanwide Expeditions by a blog by Victoria Boano. And it basically has got one picture and it says in the summer it's daylight all along and in the winter it's nighttime all day long. That's it. How to reduce the impact of these abnormal cycles? No proof. You can keep warm, eat your frozen vegetables, stick to the schedule on the British Antarctic bases, and stick with your time zones. That's it. That's it. That's the evidence. It's not even like I was expecting the dodgy composite video of 24 hours sun that was put together a year ago, but at least that was fake, but it did demonstrate the 24-hour sun. This is just a statement, confirmation. There's no evidence.
All right. Well, you can check out Robert Shortman's personal testimony and account of being in Antarctica as a plumber. It's my most popular video. It's got almost 100,000 views. It's called Confessions of an Antarctic Plumber. Very interesting stories he had to tell too, to make the account far more credible. As opposed to your mate.
You're getting your proof. You're getting your proof from a plumber? Oh my God! What have you stooped to, Nathan?
No matter what he was down there for, he was down there.
Wait, can I get? Where's the link to this? Or how do I type it in?
I'll stick it in.
Thank you.
Master B for you. It was in Discord, but.
I mean, great, yes. I want to plug that video. Wonderful if people go and watch Robert Shortman, myself and Antonio chatting. Great. However, that wasn't the subject we were discussing. We were discussing pictures that we apparently, as flat earthers, just don't accept. Why is it these photos from space are hand-waved as fake? I didn't hand-wave them as fake. I debunked the region they came from, and then suddenly we're moving on to Antarctica.
I wanted to address
I think Josh wants to add something. Joshua the baller.
Feel free. Hold on, let's just shake off my irritation with the last guy. Hi, Joshua. Good to have you.
Whilst Joshua gets it together, if I just address that, I know you destroyed the supposed place the picture's being taken from, but before we even got to that, when you presented evidence saying here is a photograph, so okay. Let's check that out. So who took the photograph? If we go and find out who claims it, in most cases it's NASA, then ask them, is it a photograph? Now their response, I think, would be the important one to validate if it's a photograph or not, for you to say, look, we've got photographs from space. So when the producer of the image says, no, it's not a photograph, I think that demolishes your argument as well.
Perfect. Did we have someone else who wanted to add something from Discord? Has he run away already? I don't see someone called Joshua. Oh, there we go. Is he still on mute? Ah, he was on server mute the whole time. Sorry, that's my bad. I didn't realise there was no moderator taking people off mute. Can you hear us, Joshua? Whoever said that Joshua guy wanted to interact with us, you're wrong. I think your mic's broken, Joshua. No, we can't hear you, my friend. You're coming off mute, but no words coming out. Okay, we'll give up on Joshua.
I got a memory of, I think, Jeranism, where there was a webcam in supposedly Antarctica, and it was supposed to film this 24-hour sun. And every time we studied the images from this webcam, there was 6 to 8 hours missing. Something to that effect. Do you all recall that?
Yeah, massive chunks missing, and the shadows jumping. Also, the one that Adam mentioned happened to flash up on my slideshow while we were discussing that, Adam, just by sheer coincidence. I think something needs looking into, Neil? I said the Antarctic image, the fake 24-hour sun with the watch in the background, flashed up while we were discussing it with that guy, just by coincidence, Neil.
Yeah, this is things I'm talking about. Something's going on. There's a connect somewhere. The universe.
Given it's on a rotating reel, it was just a statistical anomaly. A coincidence. It coincided with the discussion.
Listen, I know. I don't
got right on your side.
I don't believe any of that, but it's just weird how it happens. And it was just very weird how it happened to me.
Well, I was going to say, in your example with Arwen about the rotisserie chicken, at least that way you'd have some axial rotation.
Again, I like to laugh off camera, or off mic. You can decide if that was a tumbleweed or if you laughed at that.
Everyone's on mute. How are they going to laugh?
All that did was make me hungry.
So, is there anything other chat skanks other than that Joshua guy?
I would like to have known what he was going to say about the panel.
That was just, Adam spotted that a mile off. So, at that point, what he could do with is someone from the Flat Earth side to introduce a bit of chaos so it's not just him doing it. So, attack the panel with a not so subtle ad hom. And then, hopefully, someone like yourself, Neil, will step in and go, "Why are you saying that to me?" and cause a little bit of audio chaos like you're doing right on cue. I did kind of...
So I fell for it.
Yeah. That's what they do. It's a tactic. Cause a bit of chaos. Normally, Alwyn used to fall for it. He doesn't anymore. Kudos to him. They'd just drop in some random insult against Arwen. And Arwen would hear it, come off mic, off mute, and on mic, suddenly the chaos is coming from both the guy who wants to obfuscate the point that's being asked about and Arwen.
Maybe he did like I told him he snatched his own wig off. Maybe that caught his feelings. Sorry, not sorry.
I like catching them stuttering though. Everyone hearing it knows what's going on.
Yep.
When they can't quite get their words out.
You're a master at catching them. You're a master at catching them stuttering.
You could hear him trying to shift the argument. First was the, but my Himawari ate, right? And then atmosphere, and then quickly shift to Antarctica. Oh shit, that didn't work out. I don't have anything to provide. Quickly, let me try to bring up some theory. He said that shit real quick. Oh, what do you think about this theory? Nah, we're not falling for all that okie doke shit anymore, guys. Need to get a grip. It's 2021.
Meanwhile, we've only gone through, what, 2 housekeeping questions?
No, you made us forgo all of them by saying there's no evidence of therefore no Earth curve, no axial rotation, no molten iron core at the centre for presupposed spherical Earth, obviously. no distance to the sun, no distance to celestial objects, and for every single viable hypothesis that could potentially be provided by any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics, they'll need an R-value. So there was no point doing any of the housekeeping questions specifically one by one, because that little summary just did them all, with the exception of gas pressure without a container. And then lucky us, a guy comes and tells us that we've got pictures from a sky vacuum, and there's an atmosphere with no container.
Thanks for ruining the show, Tent.
Au contraire.
Hey, the presupposition was bound to die on its own knife.
Yeah, I don't know how to use Discord mute. All right. It almost seems like you're a real newbie and won't know what you're doing.
I was tempted to butt in at that point and say, whilst I appreciate you may not be familiar with the Operation Discord, you have held civil conversations before, though, haven't you, mate? You know, they use that as an excuse to just talk over you. It's when called on it. Oh, I don't know how to use the mute button. Really, you got here.
Total lie.
Nathan, what's the? I'm trying to post that for Elijah. What was the name of the plumber? So I can find the link of that interview and I'll stick it in.
Which one?
It is worthy of listening to. It's really old, but
Before you give him the name, I just figured out why they don't go on mute when you tell them to, Nathan. They don't want to listen to a flat earther.
Yeah, they want to have the opportunity to talk straight through whatever's coming their way if they don't like the sound of it. Because obviously, if they've talked straight through it, they haven't heard it. So they don't have to respond to it. That is one of the primary reasons I have two panels. Because what would happen when there was one panel was that you'd have your fundy muting going on, and nobody at all could actually hear what was being said. So therefore, when the fundy muting began, the point ended. Now, if I've got two panels and asshole fundy muter decides that he's going to talk straight through my point, I just shut that line. And the audience and the other panel gets to hear the point being made. Now, I'm not going to pretend for 1 second that I don't have to do the exact same thing because of every single one on my own side, because we're all human. But there's very different motivation when each side does it. And ultimately speaking, the purpose is irrelevant. The result is the same, which is people don't get to hear what's being said. Now, if you're on the losing side of the argument, that's going to be very useful. Also, a useful opportunity to drop in a disclaimer about part of your argument that you prefer wasn't quite heard fully. Drop it in when everyone's talking. Yeah? Easy peasy. There is something that I'm hoping to... I can't really give it a day number like the fundy anti-flat earthers do with us. Like day 27, panic mode, for whatever reason. In this instance, it's been about a week, and we've got a contradiction in terms, and we're just simply asking somebody in the comments to try to contain your temptation to attack me and tell me I don't understand, and just explain who's right. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who asserts Earth turns underneath a football, that would be 2 reference frame, as per the description of Coriolis effect, with 2 reference frames. And a citation one of the anti-flat earthers commented from Penn State that made it clear that the ground below will lag behind the projectile. That would be 2 reference frames. As per Coriolis effect. We've all heard of Coriolis effect, right? Earth's claim to have it. And to have it, you've got to turn beneath stuff that's not attached. That's what Coriolis is. So 2 reference frames, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson claims. And when we point out that, hey, Tyson, that'd mean Earth turns underneath hot air balloons and aeroplanes and drones, and we'd notice. Suddenly, we have a flat Earth advocate kind of in suggestion only, because the guy thinks he's on a ball. He calls himself Blue Marble Science. So he thinks he's a globe believer. But he then starts fighting our argument as well. saying, nah, Earth doesn't turn under footballs. Instead, he addresses that to me. I don't really understand that confusion. I'm not making a claim about Coriolis. I couldn't give a crap about it. Don't need Coriolis effect for anything as a flat earther. So I don't know why they seem to reposition this argument against me. Nevertheless, that aside, Blue Marble agrees with us. He says, one reference frame. Earth does not turn underneath, end quote, Blue Marble. Well, that's a big problem. Those two things cannot coexist. You can't simultaneously have Earth turning under footballs and Earth not turning under footballs. So for clarity, we want to know who's right. Not you don't understand, Nathan, because I definitely do understand. Coriolis effect being the not actual drift experienced by an observer in a non-inertial turning reference frame beneath an inertial reference frame with a projectile travelling straight but seeming to curve because you turn beneath it. So that's a succinct summary of Coriolis effect. So I definitely understand it. I don't need to know that I don't understand. But I do need to understand why you on the globe side have two positions with respect to Earth turning. One, that Earth will give you no effect to observe. That's Blue Marble's position. No drift. One reference frame. Quote, Earth does not turn underneath. Well, that's in stark contrast to Neil deGrasse Tyson and the actual globe claim that we do turn underneath to have the Coriolis effect that's claimed. Ever heard of Coriolis effect, people watching? Yeah, that Earth that you think you're on if you're on a ball, that's supposed to have Coriolis effect, and it's only induced if you turn beneath stuff. So if we're turning beneath stuff, two reference frames, that'd be Neil deGrasse Tyson's claim. Then we're back to our original rebuttal to Neil deGrasse Tyson, which is if it turns under bullets and balls, it's going to turn under aeroplanes, drones and helicopters now, isn't it? Not this sideline issue that we're asking the commenters to address, which is why is your own side, that'd be Blue Marble and George Netanyahu and Simon Dan, and that's my point in bringing this up now, anybody can add to that list of people that say there's only one reference frame, I'll have your job if you don't understand conservation of momentum. We need to start lumping these people who are essentially making the same point as us, just from a begging the question, I'm on a globe spinning anyway point of view. So anybody got anybody we can add to the anti-flat earth list of we don't have drift? Hopefully you've got 20 seconds to give me if you haven't.
Co-show? Good co-show?
Co-show! Yeah! So Blue Marble, you're in line with idiocy of Co-show, where he thinks hurricanes move in a straight line because Earth's turning beneath them. No, I think you'll find he's in line with Neil deGrasse Tyson with that horse shit. He just has to assert that hurricanes travel straight because he realises Earth's supposed to have two reference frames. If he's saying hurricanes travel straight but only appear to curve because we're turning beneath them, then he's actually in line with Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's just hurricanes don't move straight and we don't turn beneath hot air balloons or aeroplanes.
Hurricane Co-show. Love it.
Yeah, I do know the difference, but I'm not going to tell you, was my favourite response. I've heard to those. I'm not sure that was this week or end of last week.
That would be Admasto.
What is it?
I don't know what name he came under that day, but that's Admasto. Same like Zinda. He could change his name 1,000,000 times and you know it's Zinda.
Sure, but the argument was, do you want to repeat it, Adam? I've got a third position.
I do appreciate that, but and I do have the answer, but I'm not going to tell you. Probably because he claimed we wouldn't understand his explanation.
Yeah,
that was the weird one. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, he understood how the positions were contradictory, and I was wrong about the two conclusions. I was like, which one's wrong? Because obviously neither are mine. One's Blue Marble and the other is Penn State NDT, in this case Kosho. Well, which one's wrong? Well, I'm not going to tell you. Well, why won't he tell me? Well, I'll tell you, the audience, why he won't tell me, because he's only going to be attacking one of his own. He can't attack me when it's positioned in that manner, which is exactly how I've positioned it. One reference frame from Blue Marble Science, two reference frames from Neil deGrasse Tyson. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you. Pop it in the comments if you know another one that sits on either one reference frame Blue Marble or two reference frames NDT side. Just put a note in the comments and put, this person claims one reference frame, no drift, or this person claims two reference frame, Earth turns beneath helicopters, hot air balloons, and you if you jump up and down. Anyway, with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, or joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Am I confusing him with someone else?
It don't matter. I remember it though.
And Master was saying he don't want to answer him because in past he was shut down.
10th. Thanks.
Because in the past he was shut down, so that's why he's not going to give an answer. Is that the same, or am I thinking of someone else?
No, that's the same. So the guy, whoever we're talking about, I can't remember who it was now. Headmaster, you keep calling him. Either way, he was saying... No, who, sorry?
Morty.
Okay, whoever.
Yeah, same person.
Okay, jolly good. So he's saying, I'm not going to tell you whose position, that would be Neil deGrasse Tyson with 2 reference frames or Blue Marble 1 reference frame, is right. And we're like, okay, well, then you're useless. Go away. If you're not going to tell us, then you're not going to take part in the discussion. We know why, because you're only attacking one of your own. And it's like, no. Every time I've done so in the past has proved fruitless. So you're saying that you won't do it because in the past you, according to you, haven't been allowed to, or it's been fruitless. In other words, you haven't won. Not shocking at all. But because of that, you're not even going to attempt to. He then went on to lie and say, I'm shutting him down. The reason the coherent, obviously brilliant explanation hasn't come is because I've been shutting him down the whole time. I know you told us it was fruitless, but they have to lie.
So that's good. So that's good because he's right. Every argument they do come with is fruitless because they lie.
Because they lose. For example, you haven't got an area beyond a sphere-shaped air where you can't visit but is claimed to have pictures coming from it. What about the south? No. What about you acknowledge my winning argument?
But if we acknowledge your winning argument, then we'll lose. And we can't lose because everybody believes we're on a ball. Therefore, we won. There you go. Globies.
They only exist because of us. Because if we just shut down everything, flat earthers just stop, shut it down, where are they going to go? They got nothing. They survive because we're here.
That's right. Anti-flat earthers are only in existence because of us. That corner, that currently hot community on YouTube, is literally only in existence because of us. Because they're not globe believers, they're anti-flat earthers. They're unique. It is unique to be in a position like Blue Marble, where you assert Earth does not rotate underneath. Because he's asserting that with the globe belief. Now, we also say Earth doesn't rotate underneath, but we say it as flat earthers. So in essence, we're both saying the same thing, but he's saying it with a globe belief and we're saying it without one. But the same thing's being said. Earth doesn't turn underneath. End quote, Blue Marble. So we've both got the same opinion then? No, I'm going to attack you for not understanding that the globe's wrong, and my suggestion of how the globe and atmosphere move together as one, conservation of angular momentum, is actually right, and I'm going to sit and argue about how my non-globe rhetoric is right. They are completely unique, and only here because they don't like flat earthers.
Unique little snowflakes.
And I don't think they appreciate how unique they are. Because they want to be. The reason they've become in the position that they are, being described as unique by me, is because they've stumbled across the information that we provide, and they want to go back to being a normie. And you can't. So you've only got one path if you want to retain globe belief. And that is the anti-flat earth, very unique, very specialist category that Simon Dan, Conspiracy Cats, Blue Marble, the Rumpus, all of these people, they're all in a camp together. Isn't that quaint? Because you're not normies. You're not just going about your day knowing that Earth's a sphere. Not at all. Because you're telling us how Earth doesn't turn underneath and how we wouldn't expect to see Earth curve. So you're in a very unique position. You're not like normies. You've already found this information out, same as we did. You just braced against it and found yourself in this very unique camp now, didn't you? With a lot of pain all around you.
Yeah, normies just wake up, you know, try to get on with their day, go to work, feed their kids and stuff, you know. These anti-flat earthers, they wake up and they want to know what the flat earthers are doing. What are they saying? Focused, huh? Making videos about us. Blue Marble, why don't you make a video about Neil deGrasse? I don't understand. He's the one saying that the Earth's spinning underneath a football, you big dummy.
Yeah, Blue, you big dummy. Where's your video against NDT, big dummy?
A lot of them, it just seems like they're very personally invested in the model itself. They're either teachers of science or college students or whatever, and they take the anti-flat Earth position, or they take it a step further and they try to make themselves as like saviors of people that they believe have this awful knowledge of the flat Earth. They're trying to save people. It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's projection. They're trying to, as I said earlier, find their way back to normie. Look, if I can convince you that you were wrong, that means that we're all normies together, right? We've all got the same view as the normies that don't ever come across this subject or concern themselves with it. But I've concerned myself with it, and I still think it's wrong. You must think it's still wrong with me. Share your pain. I mean, while we're saying this, I'm talking about one person. Conspiracy Cats. That is him. We are detailing him and his road. His road of pain. And he's detailed it. He detailed it to Haunted House.
Yeah, but what about the school teachers? Because now they're teaching that if flat earthers come with this, they got a certain way that they want them to answer them.
Of course. In the indoctrination camps, they're going to start indoctrinating them with overcomes for flat earth arguments. Yeah, that's because we're nothing to worry about, Neil. Just a flash in the pan. Come and go, psyop. But we should really educate the children on how to overcome these arguments. Yes, yes, yes.
You know what's funny, the dude before said, you know, they have this thing of defending their model, right? But then you got somebody like the exoplanet astrophysicist lady. I don't remember her name. That got interviewed by Wakey Wakey. And when he presented her with something that absolutely couldn't work on the globe Earth, she was very content when she still thought she was speaking to a regular normie. She was very content to say, well, the model was wrong. Very simply, very easily, no, the model's wrong. That doesn't work. Well, why is it these guys can't do that? Like, I know she's an exoplanet astrophysicist, so she's got, you know, that indoctrination, right? But like, why was it so easy for her to say, well, the model is wrong?
Because she's an expert, and the people who come here are one of the 7 million other globe believers. They just happen to find themselves in a unique category where they found out about the Earth being flat, don't like the information, and then start to brace against it and brace against us. So when we point out that the model's wrong, even if we're completely concise and accurate in our description of how it's wrong, it will be rejected, braced against, and the opinion of how it's wrong becomes the flat earthers' view. Your view of how Earth should turn underneath is wrong. It's not the globe model and how it says it should turn underneath things to cause Coriolis that's wrong. It's you saying it should turn underneath that's wrong. They become anti-flat earthers, very unique and special. And at the moment, really hot on YouTube. And I bet if you're in that little anti-flat earth camp, you've convinced yourself that you're like the globe believers. You're just out there putting out globy rhetoric, right? Nah, you're not. Not at all. You're very special in a special little segregated camp of anti-flat earth. You're not like the rest of them. Like us, you're very different. You used to be in a tiny little community slightly below flat earth, and then you got a lot of heavy promotion as the subsection of society that you are, anti-flat earth. You got a lot of heavy promotion, and your opponents, lucky for you, are all squashed down. Well, that's very good for your little tiny community of anti-flat earthers who've taken the purple pill, or in fact had it forced down their neck probably. They didn't really want it in the first place.
Hey, Chocolate, the exoplanet astrophysicist expert cannot exist without R.
I don't think she knew that.
That's not a bad reply. Can you repeat that again?
The exoplanet astrophysicist expert cannot exist without R.
That's getting one step closer. Oh, I'm very impressed. I love it. We're getting so close. One sentence reply we'll get there within a week, I reckon, on any viable hypothesis.
This tact. Oh man, when I take it to the streets and when I take it to 24/7, like it's
The streets ain't
the
ready
level
for this,
of
bro.
destruction.
The streets ain't ready for this, bro. These guys ain't even ready for this. We're just putting them on right now.
I think he meant. I think he meant trenches. Hold on. I think he meant trenches.
Yeah, it's like, I'll be like, oh no, I'm sorry. Actually, you don't hold everyone's position. You're not in the majority. You're actually in the minority. See, what you are is an anti-flat earther. Because, what Neil deGrasse Tyson says and Bill Nye and all of these other people that everyone else goes along with, well, these people say this about the earth. You say another thing, because all I'm doing is pointing out a contradiction. I don't have a position in the matter at all.
Well, yeah, Tony, you came in with the remix. Where did you get your story from? Because that's not the official story. Where did you get yours from?
Exactly.
You know, that's a threat to my son. I tell him all the time now, Jacob, you're becoming an anti-flat earther. And then he walks away.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to be labeled that, but he's getting to be an anti-flat earther.
Oh, if you are listening, globe believers, yeah, that's right. We have just literally segregated you into a subcategory of society, a very small one. And we can define you quite specifically based on your anti-globe beliefs that sit in line with flat earthers, but simultaneously challenge flat earthers for stating globe beliefs that can't be overcome. So you're unique, special if you will. Also, just as easy to put a line through instead of under, if you're YouTube. So, Simon Dan, feeling special? Yeah, you're not one of those people who talks about being on the blue marble and talks about pictures of Earth from space as a normie fundy. You're not a normie fundy. You're an anti-flat earther.
What about the Professor Dave guy? Where does he fall under? He's definitely got to be anti-flat earther.
Oh my God! He's pimping himself. What was it on? Myth Vision. He was talking about abiogenesis. live yesterday. I just caught about. I didn't bother going in the chat and saying this guy isn't even a professor. I want to catch up on that, but I know I think he's realised he's out of his league. I think trying to take us on, and he's moved on to pretending he's intelligent in other circles. I'll find a link. That killed it, didn't it? There you go.
I don't know why you guys keep saying that there is no drift.
Professor Dave, all creationists write about abiogenesis and evolution. Professor Dave explains how abiogenesis is the best explanation for the formation of life on planet Earth. So I'll
he's
that
an
link
idiot.
for you to have a giggle.
Nathan, I think it's time we get them all categorized and get a nice little camp for them so we know exactly who the anti-flat earthers are. Professor Bill.
You will know them
Phil.
by the words they speak. Very simply, actually.
Professor Phil Bell.
Well, what does he assert?
Again.
You have to categorize him by way of his... If his actual rhetoric goes against the globe, then he's an anti-flat earther.
You're only going to find that with the Coriolis, though.
Well, we do have Coriolis.
Nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve, Neil.
Oh, yeah. Listen.
Am I coming through?
Yeah. Hello. Hello. We hear you. Whoever said, am I coming through?
I was just saying, I don't know why you guys keep saying there's no drift. There is drift. It's just that when somebody's around, the drift function collapses. So we have the drift. You just can't see it.
Sorry.
Even though it's defined as visible and apparent.
A drift is another word for displacement. If you can't see the drift, then how do you know it exists?
They must be calculating it.
So it exists in the calculator.
I'm not gonna lie. This has been the best 2 damn weeks of
it's because the Earth's
in a
ball.
long
I mean,
time.
the Earth's a sphere. I mean, come on, just get on board.
Hold on.
Okay, we know
Hello.
we know the
Hello. Did you not? Eli was in the middle of telling us it's been the best 2 weeks ever, and then it was interrupted, and then no summary allowed. Feel free, Eli. Go ahead.
Standard statement.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's been the best 2 damn weeks. Last week we had 4 very strong conversations with a little bit of globe earth interjections from the globe earthers, and they were just systematically and succinctly sent on their way after so clear, for the example the guy just gave about Ed Masto, where he just says, no, I'm not going to tell you. What kind of 5-year-old shit is that? It's been the best 2 weeks of my life. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's a bait and switch trick. That's a bait and switch trick. It works on kids too. It's like giving them a promise and then not fulfilling it, right? Giving them this mysterious, magical third option, but not saying what it is. Why? Well, because it's not there, but you'd still like to let that belief distract the recipient, right?
Nah, it's just 5 and just saying, I know, but I'm not telling you. Meow, meow.
That's
Well, he
it.
didn't say it like that. He was like keeping it
No
kind
shit.
of mysterious. No, he did say no, and that's it. He was like, no, I'm keeping that a secret. I'm not going to reveal that to you.
Yeah, like
as
Paul
a
Voigt.
mystery.
Remember Paul Voigt? Yeah, I've got evidence of the Molten Iron Core. Just not giving it you.
And then disappeared for 6 years.
How many years ago was that?
Like 5, 6, 5 now at least. At the very least, it's 5. I started coming here in 2016.
That was BN.
Well, the
Right,
best line
Before Neil.
But it works though, because after 5 years, we still make mention of that it happened. Now, don't we?
Yeah, and he has yet to be proven wrong because he's not here.
The best summary line is Rumpus. It only exists in the maths.
We do have a geometric rising.
I still want to see that model where he simulated terrestrial refraction for the Isle of Man that he promised. What is it, 4 years ago now?
He can. He's a liar.
Again, the other day, guys, having a conversation with a guy, and at the end of that conversation, he was like, "Man, what I thought flat earthers were, like from what you're saying, I had a totally misconceived understanding of why I would be coming here, the motivation behind my questions, but like now I'm leaving with questions. This is amazing. That's what you want to do for someone, you know? But at the beginning of the conversation, the destruction began when he says, well, yeah, but you say that like it's such a strong argument, but if the radius is wrong, then okay, you prove that the radius is wrong. How does that prove that it's flat? And I'm like, well, at the very least, everything that you'll probably use to justify that the Earth is a globe is from NASA, and they obviously can't be doing what they're doing without a radius. So what are you going to do? He was like, whoa. And that's
I think they don't understand the significance of their radius. Like, it's almost like you don't know that if you live on a ball, you need that radius. And the way they've told us that they've used this radius, like you need that radius to be accurate, right? Otherwise, you're not doing the thing that you're doing. You're just making stuff up. Any Globers in here? Or anti-flat earthers?
I could be here if you
want. No one
But
asked for Arwen.
No, quick, go away, Arwen.
Aren't all the celestial movements, don't they rely on R?
No. And by the way, all the celestial movements
We're
have
talking
an
about the
apparent
really
R.
is level?
Yes. All the apparent celestial lights have an apparent R. But it's just apparent.
Yes, it is. Yes,
they're not in any
there are
actual
both
position.
Globers and anti-flat earthers on the panel.
Right. Now that Nathan is not here to cut me off in the middle of the argument, I'd like to now mention, without any other interruption, that I was right in the original argument at the start of the show, right? Because my entire point was you don't start out presupposing the Earth is a sphere, and I didn't. I went through the whole preliminary process and never finished it, just to prove that you don't have to start out.
But you didn't prove it was a sphere either. You made a load of arbitrary measurements that didn't actually prove anything at the end of them. That means you didn't prove it was a sphere. You at one stage tried to presuppose that it was a sphere and dropped it in, and again, me pointing it out led to you saying, well, I'm not doing it. It's not before, therefore not presuppositional. You accepted it was presuppositional, carried on making the example, measuring the equator, but never actually got to proving a sphere.
That's exactly what I said when you started to interrupt me in the middle of my statement. Yes, that's right. But I did it just to demonstrate you don't always literally start out presupposing. But if you want to actually make a claim and round it out, then you will have to presuppose it afterward.
Yeah, in other words, if you're trying to actually claim it's a proof of a sphere, you've got to presuppose it's a sphere. So the starting statement you disagreed with was me pointing out that VB, then QE, taking actual credit, said that every single claim to be proof of a sphere starts with the assumption of a sphere. So therefore you're saying, well, if you don't try and prove a sphere, you haven't got to assume it. Yeah, but then you're not proving it. Or at least thinking that you're proving it.
No, you're doing the same thing again. I'm not disagreeing. I'm only disagreeing with your starting. You don't start presupposing. You don't have to start presupposing the claim, but you have to put the presupposition in there somewhere. And that was my only very, very facetious point.
Hold on. Let me just break down what presupposition is, right? Presupposition as in before supposition. So pre-supposition being your supposition that Earth's a sphere. Well, pre-conclusion. So presuppositional meaning that it comes before your conclusion. So your supposition, presupposition because it comes before your conclusion, is that Earth's a sphere, and your conclusion is that Earth's a sphere. So it's circular reasoning. But the pre-bit is pre-conclusion.
That's right.
To me, that's right. Yes. I'm breaking this down for you.
Yeah, before the conclusion. But the conclusion comes all the way in the end. You don't have to start it out. You don't have to start off any sentence. I know the anti-flat earthers love to do that. Please, the anti-flat earthers love to do that for the reason to quickly sneak it in and then roll it under a lot of explanation, right? That's their trick. But it's not an essential position to do that.
You've got to do it at some point to make the claim and then make the conclusion. Yes, at some point you've got to presuppose. I've said 100% of the time. I wouldn't challenge you, Arwin, if this was 6-8 months ago and I was like 99% of the time you've got to presuppose a sphere to claim you're proving a sphere. Presuppose means that you've suggested the sphereness of the claim you're making to then make the conclusion that it is actually a sphere. That's why it's pre, not pre-measurement or pre-anything else, just pre-conclusion.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, but because you didn't use the word start out with, or that part, you let that out, and then I'm completely in agreement.
Whatever, you've got to presuppose a sphere if you're going to claim you're proving a sphere, which makes it circular reasoning in every single instance.
Absolutely. Now, where you insert the presupposition within the explanation, that's up for... Well, that's up for a choice for the claimant to do, right? Where are you going to position the presupposition?
Can I just say something now, Nathan?
Save me, please, God, do.
Now, they're going to reify the horizon as being the leading edge of the sphere. That's the next move they're going to do.
Maybe, not necessarily.
So what would the difference be between a presupposition and a hypothesis?
A hypothesis is a supposition of cause yet to be validated with an independent and dependent variable and null.
Oh, yeah, of course.
A presupposition is only presuppositional because it's prior to a conclusion. Yeah, i.e. the same as the presupposition. Yeah? A supposition, a speculative reasoning behind a cause of an effect that is yet to be validated. That means that you haven't tested it yet. So I suppose A causes B isn't a presupposition, it's a supposition yet to be validated.
Yeah, good
point. Arwin begged the question.
Sorry, Ted. Just one more thing. One more thing. Just because it just popped into my head. It becomes a presupposition, the hypothesis that is, when you mistake the hypothesis for the explanation. So in my supposition of cause, hypothesis yet to be validated, I say A causes B in the alternative hypothesis, and the null is A doesn't cause B. But we're going to ignore the null. We're just going to take the alternative. A causes B. Now, if I mistake that supposition yet to be validated for an explanation, suddenly it's written the same way and A causes B. Then it's a presupposition.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Arwen.
Go ahead, 10th. Sorry.
The minute he mentioned equator, he begged the question and presupposed. So, Arwen, please define equator.
That's what I said.
That's what I said.
Is your name Arwen?
I admitted that.
No, but I said
immediately at the start of the discussion. I admitted it immediately.
Quick, throw some more
See what
causal
happened
chaos in, Arwen. Ask someone else or call someone else an idiot. Quick.
Yeah, I already disclaimed that immediately upon first inquiry.
Well, then you lost right immediately.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's right. His defense is to say, I dropped that little nugget that made me lose the argument in straight away.
But I never made the claim, though.
What do you mean?
Right,
as soon
Rumpus?
as you said that, I said.
Right, for this to be educational, I'm sorry, guys, I've got to interrupt and break it down. Arwen's using a very clever tactic. Now, the tactic is to drop in the devastating part of your argument that makes your argument fail immediately. And then if somebody brings up the devastating part, which is simultaneously, coincidentally, not coincidentally at all, the rebuttal. So someone points out that the point Arwen made immediately is also the rebuttal, and they present it as a rebuttal. Arwen's response, as he dutifully did, I already disclaimed I'm begging the question and using a fallacy. How dare you use that as a rebuttal?
No, my actual rebuttal is I never made a claim. I never made a claim.
When you go back to the tape or play it again, you're going to hear Neil saying equator. What's the equator?
We all said it. We know that. We know that, and you're right, Neil. I'm not saying you're wrong, and neither of us is Arwen. But Arwen's doing what Arwen. Neil, please. Arwen's doing the do. So he's now justifying that he put in his disclaimer immediately. This is absolutely A1 tactics. Arwen is sharp. He knows what he's doing. You don't have to tell him, look, I already beat your argument. Believe me, if this was a different scenario, I would be shoulder to shoulder. You're making the same argument, Neil. He knows it. Just trust me. That's not his purpose, and that's not what he's doing. And what he's doing's good, even though you're thinking he needs to be argued with, and he does, and I am, but for the purposes of education. And the educational bit in this instance is by saying the bit that loses you the argument straight away. And I mentioned it on the live show. Ideally, while everyone else is talking, yeah. Because then it's not really heard. You obviously don't want to give away the devastating rebuttal. That's why you disclaim it while everyone's talking, make your babbly point, and if someone brings it up, like Arwen's just done, you say, I already disclaimed that, and then carry on babbling like they haven't refuted you.
Right, because they get flustered in a moment and shut up for a second, leaving me room to make the
No, but it wasn't addressed, though. You just walked right by it and talked about something else.
The best moment to actually insert these things is right when you're getting interrupted. And that's why Neil's so handy, because he always likes to do that.
Shut up, Owen. That's not what it's saying.
He fell victim to it. You fell victim to it again. So Arwen just did something deliberate. So you're trying to make it stress that your point's not been addressed. Arwen dropped an ad hominem to the end of his explanation and disclaimer that I'm backing, and he's agreeing with me, by the way. Arwen's playing along with me, Neil. But he dropped in a little tactic at the end that you bit on instead of the argument, didn't you, Neil?
I'm just saying. 10th man just said it, and you said, yeah, that's right. You did say that in the beginning. I was like, hello, I did say that, and you just went right by it. That's what I'm trying to say. If I bid on it again, what do you want?
I think you're missing the overarching point, but yes.
No, I got the point. I know your tactics, Owen. I hear you. I know.
I'm sorry for using you like that.
We are using you, Neil, but that makes you equally as important as Arwen in this scenario. Just make that be certainly known. You know, it's important.
I am not the hoa.
Not used in that way. We're not pimping you.
I'm only kidding.
I still want Arwen to define equator.
Yeah, that's right.
Celestial orientated derived convention.
Well, according to Britannica, equator, great circle around the Earth that is everywhere equidistant from the geographic poles and lies in a plane perpendicular to the Earth's axis. It divides the Earth into northern and southern hemispheres and forms an imaginary reference line on the Earth's surface, which latitude is reckoned. So you were begging the question.
Yeah, but that is the globe Earth definition for it.
So because it's automatically assuming a globe in the definition, that's cool to beg the question then, Arwin, is it?
But that's not the type of equator I'm talking about. I don't know
Oh,
how
I
else to
see. Oh, it's a
designate
different
it
special
based
equator.
on a non-spherical model, right?
Oh,
Because
right. He wasn't talking about the globe that he was trying to prove and get around not begging the question of. He wasn't talking about that, so you weren't proving a globe after all. Yeah, that's our point.
Yeah, I wasn't. That's right. And that.
So we weren't proving a globe, and we had to beg the question, so it's all good, and dropping in your disclaimer right at the beginning hasn't helped you. Excellent stuff, this. Very educational, Arwin. I thank you very much.
I'm gonna call it. I don't know what else to call it. I wasn't actually making a claim of sphere. I tried to demonstrate how you can come to a position where you could conclude it's a sphere without presupposing it's a sphere, leaving that part out.
Because you can't.
No. Stop, Neil. Stop. All Arwin's done is he's now taken us back to square one, haven't you, Arwin? Beautifully done. He's asserted the original claim again, ignoring all rebuttals and reasserting the claim to start this do-si-do circle jerk again. Did you not spot it?
It's easier than you might think.
Oh, Arwin, being a baller is so much fun. Sorry, I correct myself. Anti-flat earther.
Well, can I read something?
Go ahead.
And that is interesting because that's exactly what happens. Because I get frustrated with people because they can talk to an anti-flat earther for 6 hours, and I'm like, well, all he's doing is just resetting the game, and obviously he doesn't mind. And you guys are like serious mad, like stop falling for it. But anyway, so I looked up equator etymology, and it says from medieval Latin equator, and the phrase circulus equator be et noctis, circle equalizing day and night.
Interesting.
Eli.
So it also means circle. Thank you for that data. That's very enlightening.
Enlightening that the etymology itself begs the question. Yes, entirely.
No, circle, not sphere.
Oh, Jesus
circle.
God.
It said circle. He said circle, not sphere.
Okay, so not proving a sphere then. Yeah, great. So it doesn't help you in the slightest then.
Eli, Saturday morning on 24/7, we were killing a guy immediately with the radius, and you were taking him somewhere else. So I don't understand how you just said that.
Let's give Arwin some props, right? I know you were in the middle of it, Neil, but without Arwin's expertise in that particular fashion, as he's just done, in a very controlled way, we've just managed to educate, not you, because you're part of it, and to be frank, I think you could play along just as well if you tried, but you're just always in the bitch position, which is just tough luck, that's how it goes. So there we go. Anyway, get your mangina on the corner while we talk about you, Neil. Right, Arwin's excellent rendition of a globe positioning under controlled circumstances means we can actually get somebody to appreciate how the process takes place. And Arwin is at strategic moments, not when his point hasn't been quite overcome and someone's still playing along, then he won't do it. But when he knows that I've taken it to its conclusion, Arwin will just say, yes, that is correct, that is what I have just done, making the point nice and clear to the audience. How do the tactics work? Me sat here on my own, or even just after it's happened, trying to summarise on my own how the process takes place. I've tried that. It doesn't educate anybody. I've got to be honest. I've failed. As soon as Arwin comes along, and it's something like any beautiful artist, you'll be appreciated in time for this, Arwin, I know. I know from my own personal experience that there was a time I didn't appreciate what you were doing, and then eventually I went, fucking hell, this guy's absolutely sharp as a tack. And it gives me goosebumps just talking about it. But the same will happen in time. People appreciate what Arwin's actually doing. He's allowing an audience to understand, with strategic moments where he concedes, how the tactics work. And Arwin studied them. And, as much as he may or may not want to admit it, it's good fun. being an anti-flat earther. Because it's not that difficult when you know how to do it, right, Arwin?
Well, once you get a grip, it is complicated, but once you get a grip, yes, it's a lot of fun, and it becomes less difficult because your intuition just starts to get how the game works, right? And it is a lot of fun. Yes, it is.
He always apologizes to me too, because I'm like a caveman. So he's like, "Sorry, Neil, but."
Are you still here? You should be on the corner earning your rent. Yeah, but equally, now I've given him stick. Neil, same applies. What we also need, because I can't sit in this seat either, is someone to bite. Yeah? Now, Arwin knows what buttons to press. You've been here long enough, so he picks on you. But that makes you useful, and I don't want you to take it like derogatory, because you are... The example has to be made with it in real time actually happening and occurring, and you give us that when you bite on an ad hom at the end of a disclaimer that's going to result in a circle jerk, and you start going, "No, I'm not," and attacking the personal bit or addressing the personal bit. Again, we get a short pause, we get to explain that you've bitten on it, and everyone understands around us. It's fantastic. You know, Eli said he's really pleased in the last 2 weeks, and without being rude, I can't remember exactly what it was that you were pleased about. But there we go, without sounding derogatory. I'm pleased also because I keep praising how good the panel are. You know, little things like this example right now, me being able to do... I couldn't do it on my own. And I've got to have a really sharp panel to be able to do things like that. You included, Neil.
Yes, Neil is like the ultimate easy, natural first response guy, right? Because he's always natural.
Gee, thanks for the compliment.
But that's useful. That's useful because you represent kind of like the first response effect as part of the tactitional schemes that go around psychological warfare-wise, right? So you're like you're the guy that gives the first response. It's like part of getting the oversight of how things work.
So basically, Neil's the infantry and gets killed before the general shows up.
Right,
yeah,
he's
basically.
the shock troops.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not a bad analogy, but I've tried to pepper it with don't take it badly. But if you're going to show somebody from the sidelines how to prevent infantrymen from getting killed, and they say, look, the infantrymen fall for this particular trap, and then the infantryman in this example is Neil, and he runs out and gets his head blown off. And you go, that's how they fall for it, right? But we're doing it in controlled... But we're doing it in controlled situation with paintballs where no one loses their head. Go on, whoever it was.
There's another word for that. It's called fodder. Send in the fodder.
Fodder, yeah, cannon fodder, that's right.
Right, or shock troops.
It's the front lines. People get taken out first, is what we're talking about. Look, Neil, there's no kind way to pepper that you're, in this example, the cannon fodder, so that we can make an example how other people shouldn't fall victim to whatever ad hom followed a do-si-do circle jerk. But, you know, you did it, which is useful.
I'm Rambo, but I get killed.
You can think of yourself as Rambo in this situation. If Rambo was on the front lines getting his head blown off.
Nah, Rambo's a guerrilla tactician. He doesn't do that sort of thing.
Yeah, Rambo's the guy who sneaks up after 10 days of planning and slits your throat without you knowing.
How do you know I'm not? How do you know I'm not doing that? And in 10 shows down the road, I say, "Aha! You've been Rambo'd."
But see, that's what.
Go on, chocolate.
Well, Eli. But that's
Sorry,
what.
Eli.
That's all right. I only said like 2 words. Come on, let's be fair. Same accent. But so it's just that, like, again, if I were to be an anti-flat earther and this like amused me while I was playing like the game or something, right? Which so I know if I'm at the end of a losing argument and a devastating point comes, I see my favorite flat earther enter the room, because now I need a way out so that I can reassert my position and because of the audience's fatigue, make it seem like it's been my point all along. So I'm just going to trigger the person that I know is going to be triggered, and I'm going to reset the game. That's a tactic that they use all the time.
That's a very good point. Yes, I do use that, right? Because if you overcomplicate things, that also means that whatever preceded it is going to be slightly watered down. And then if you pick up with somebody new, it's like a fresh new start. And everybody will be gladly latching onto that and be very naturally willing to forget everything that preceded it, right? So part of the tactics.
That's the equivalent of getting your ass beat at Street Fighter and being so upset about it that you pull the plug out of the arcade game.
No. It's more equivalent to no. It's more equivalent to you trying to get the perfect fight against Chun-Li, and every single time you take one hit, rather than actually fighting out the game, you reset it.
Yeah, that too. I was nice with Chun-Li too, so that ain't happening.
I hated people who played with Chun-Li. They were cheaters. No, not cheaters. Cheesers, as far as I was concerned. You're cheesing.
Nah, bro.
Yeah,
Nice
the arcade game was slightly broken, but it was a great game.
I watched a speedrunner account of I can't remember which version. It's like Super Street Fighter something or other, and like you say, everyone hates Chun-Li because they all see her as like the cheating character with a 1,000,000-foot kick or whatever. Anyway, gets to the end of this very intense tournament, down to the last two characters. One of them's playing Chun-Li, and in that particular game, right, if you block, you lose energy. But in that particular version of the game, you can also do something called a parry, which is where you literally have to tap the key exactly in time. And I think there's something like, I don't know, 1/10 of a frame or something like that, or I don't know how many frames. A certain number of frame window that you've got to tap the button within one of these, you know, those kicks that she does the yeah, over and over again, right? Well, you can parry them, which means you don't lose any energy. And this guy comes in with his super massive Chun-Li kick, and the opponent parried every single one of them. It'd never been done. It was done in this tournament. So for the delight of an audience, right in the final round of this Super Street Fighter tournament, the guy parries every single one of these Chun-Li kicks so he doesn't lose any of the tiny little bit of his energy, and then absolutely annihilates her. It was fucking excellent. I even enjoyed it. I'm not a gamer, but I watched this description and then watched it happen from the live footage of this guy very calmly tapping the button at just the right rate to parry every one of those kicks and then kick her ass when she had plenty of energy and he had none. It was epic.
Wow.
Your retelling of it has me super giddy.
So he basically trained on that specific counter skill in secret and managed to keep it in secret up until the actual game.
That's kind of like
that's amazing.
That's like getting to the point where anytime somebody jumps, you hit them with the uppercut.
Well,
that parry shit. It's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like a counter attack. But that's nice to be able to do that against Chun-Li with those kicks. That's freaking.
Found it, by the way. If you guys want to watch it.
Just get this one last detail about it, sorry. The opponent, the guy who was playing Chun-Li, obviously also gave his account, and he was explaining that up until that point, it was considered impossible to parry that move. It's just too many kicks. You can't parry at that rate within the small frame of window for every single kick. You just can't do it. You're going to get kicked eventually. No one can do it. So in other words, this guy, he's got to the end of the tournament. His opponent's got virtually no energy. He's got his big power-up to do this massive kick with 100 million kicks from Chun-Li. He jumps in, does the kick, and in his mind, he's saying, no one can defend against this. He's got to block it and die. I've won. So he jumps in and then proceeds to watch the guy press the button in time, not block, parry every single kick that comes his way, and then beat him with no energy left. So the guy's saying this was an undefeatable move when I jumped in and delivered it, and I lost with an undefeatable move to that point. Anyway, just an excellent level of skill to do that.
And a great timing too. If it's considered impossible, to do it in such a moment is pretty amazing, epic.
Well, the game developer then apparently after this tournament, then dropped it in the next version as like a. Do you remember in Street Fighter you used to go and kick the crap out of a car or something because like one of those challenges? Well, they stuck it in as a challenge. See if you can parry all of Chun-Li's mega move or whatever they call it, and it just got it into the like you can practice parrying every single one of her kicks, just over and over and over and over and over and again in a demo. Whereas presumably that guy who's been playing it to the tournament level that he was at is doing that in gameplay over and over again. My point being that he's learning all of this stuff rather than just resetting over and over again because he gets hit immediately. You know, he's actually developing his skill, not figuring out how he can reset the game, not just figuring a workaround so he doesn't have to deal with the kick. That's what our opponents do. Hit the reset button, start the argument again, and then I don't have to actually get it to a conclusory point. I can just restart. And we'll do that for 4 hours. And Arwin said it perfectly. It dilutes the point. If you're listening to that for 6 hours and there's no concession, just a circle jerk round and round again, with you just have to pick a side at that point. You go, which one do I think is right? You're like, well, the one that made the conclusion that won, that was talked through when it was delivered 16 times.
Yo, I just watched it. It was even more. I mean, you did an excellent retelling, but oh my gosh, that was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Did you share that? I want to see that.
I did.
In Skype?
Where?
Master B.
My favourite part of it is in the live footage, right? The guy who's playing Chun-Li, when it starts happening, when the guy starts parrying, he's not blocking, he's not losing any energy, and he is blocking he's putting his hand up to every kick. The guy who's Chun-Li, he's just all he's done is pressed a button and it delivers the move automatically. Everything just comes out of Chun-Li's legs once you press the button. But he's standing up, pressing buttons and trying to distract the guy. He's already jumped in and pressed the button and the kick's coming out of Chun-Li. There's nothing more he can do. He's done it. The other guy's got it's all down to him to block it all, but he's trying to distract him. He's standing up and mashing buttons and doing all sorts of stuff. And the guy who's parrying it's just calmly tapping away at the exact rate to parry every kick without missing a beat. You know, he's not distracted in the slightest. Just epic.
What's even more epic about it is that because they thought immediately that it was a win once they saw the move executed. But the moment he started parrying, the crowd erupted, and this guy's nerves were like steel. Like I can't believe that much.
I don't even believe what I just saw.
Exploded.
Pushing the button once you start Chun-Li's move actually does something. So he wasn't pushing the button for no reason.
He was. He even said that. He described it. So he was in an interview after the fact. And he even said that.
No,
I only knew that. I'm not a
distraction,
gamer.
but-
I only know that because the guy who did it said it. He said, I've delivered the move. There's nothing more I can do. He starts fucking parrying it. So I start mashing buttons to try and distract him because there's nothing else I can do. Those were his words.
Wow.
Okay, that probably was his words. He probably did do that for some reason. But yeah, if
No, you just told me he didn't, you fucking idiot.
you do the move and then you don't
So even when we're talking about video games, you're a total cunt.
I know.
You've just told me that's not what happened.
Best 2 weeks of my
if
fucking
you tap
life.
the button while she does the move, she delivers more kicks. That's just what it is. I was just saying that. I'm not trying to prove you wrong, man.
Don't mutter. You've just told me I was wrong and that's not how it happened. I tell you it's a pretty much verbatim quote from the guy who did it, and then you say, oh yeah, well that's probably what he did say then.
Because
you're a wanker. Isn't that clear by now that you are just a wanker? Like in societal terms, not just in flat earth terms. This has made me appreciate you are just a wanker. You have any friends?
You said he was pushing. You said he had to be pushing buttons for a reason. It wasn't for no reason.
if you push the button while she delivers that super move, she delivers more kicks. Period.
Hold on, I might have to eat humble pie here. So maybe I've misheard him and he's tapping and not pressing buttons then. If I've got that wrong, Virus, I will apologise.
No, I mean, no, you could be
that's
right.
not true. That's I play. Listen, that's Street Fighter 3. Listen, that's Street Fighter 3 third strike, which you wouldn't know unless you actually knew the game. Know the hell you cannot do anything once you execute the super move.
That's what I thought.
No, you can't. You do.
I don't play the game,
more.
right? My source of information was purely two people in that competition and their account. A bit like Robert Shortman's account to me. That's all I got to go on. The words they said, right? So, I mean, I could have remembered wrong, in which case somebody with a superior knowledge and says, no, what he actually said, you misheard him, was he was tapping next to the button. I'd be like, okay, I misheard him, I'm wrong. But so what? Does it change the story? Who cares?
Yeah, but what Nathan is saying
could be
right.
thinking
He
of
could
a
have been
different
saying- he could
version
have
of the
been tapping
game.
button to create a distraction. There's nothing wrong with that statement, though.
Okay,
Just to let
fine.
you know, there's nothing wrong with that statement.
Okay,
you made.
reset. I take it back. I apologise.
Thank you, Nathan. That means so much. Oh my God.
Oh, anytime.
No,
Maybe he's
for real, Nathan,
talking
I
about a
appreciate that.
different
I
version
really
of the
appreciate
game.
Look, man, I'll be wrong about Street Fighter 2. When it comes to a physical geometric sphere edge or turn underneath bullets, you can be damn sure I'm not going to be wrong about those things.
The Street Fighter gameplay world is flat.
That's true.
Well, Akuma Virus has a flat earth roll now.
Sorry, say that again.
It's too many. Yeah, it's too many concessions. He has a flat earth roll now.
Too many concessions?
He's been conceding too. Yeah,
I
too many
see.
concessions.
Do you follow what George is saying to you, Virus? He's saying that you've conceded so many times. Hold on, George. I'll just summarise your point. I'm sorry to say it when you're the one making it. Virus, you're being accused of being a flat earther by default because of the number of concessions you've made.
I find that so funny. I don't mind them switching my role because blue is my favorite color. So I'm not putting up a fight.
Quote unquote, can't make straight on the globe. Quote unquote, all the area, like the whole surface of that circle, needs to be flat. Quote unquote, if you literally see the horizon, then you can make a straight to it. That's you, Virus.
Repeat it.
Those are your quotes.
Repeat it. The second one.
Can't make straight on the globe. All the area.
That was the first one.
Like
What was the second one?
All the area, like the whole surface of that circle, needs to be flat.
I've never said that. That's only if you want it to be that way. The circle of even altitude does not.
I've got you. Virus, it's already been published. I've already published it. Came out this morning.
Equal altitude does not need to be flat. The whole thing does not. The surface area don't need to be flat.
The area of just give it its proper terminology, just for the record. So, can you just say for my benefit? I'm just confirming what you've just said, but just with the correct terminology. The area of equal altitude. What was the rest of that? Sorry, Virus.
The surface area of the circle of equal altitude does not need to be flat.
The area of equal altitude. Sorry, equal what now?
Yeah, the points on the circle are of equal altitude.
Equal altitude. That would mean equal in altitude.
Elevation. Yeah,
What
elevation.
does equal mean?
It's the same. It's the same elevation.
So you're saying if it's all the same elevation, it's not flat.
The points of the circle are equal altitude, not.
That's flat. Equal altitude.
Surface area. There need to be
That's
equal
flat,
altitude
dude.
for it to be flat.
Yeah, that's what equal altitude is.
No, the points of.
What do you mean no? An area of equal altitude is an area that is all equal in altitude. And it's considered that so that you can draw a flat bottom triangle out to the GP of the star that you're triangulating. So it's got to be flat. What do you mean not flat?
So is the name of it the area of equal altitude or the circle of equal altitude?
Circle of equal altitude.
Exactly. The points of the circle are of equal altitude.
Yeah.
How'd you get your 90?
What does equal mean?
Hang on.
It still means. Oh my God.
Hold on. So, what you're saying is the circle around the GP is all equal altitude. but the line between the edge of that circle and the GP is straight and flat. And you can draw that line to make triangulation from any point on that circle and get the exact same result with a straight, flat line to do the triangulation from all of the points on the circle to the GP of the star. So all of that circle, the entire area, is of equal altitude. Can't not be, or it wouldn't work.
The surface area don't need to be flat. Just the points on a circle.
Right, the surface area of equal altitude is defined specifically as equal altitude that is flat. By definition and description, equal altitude is flat.
It's called what again?
Equal altitude is flat.
No, the point before that. What's the...
Right, all we've had from you, Virus, is that no, hand wave, that's not flat. Well, yeah, it is, because that's how triangulation works. Yeah, it is, because the circle that you've described as being equal altitude, yeah, that's right, circle of equal altitude, and a line that goes to the GP, which is in the centre of that circle, which can be drawn from any point on the circle, and every point from the outside to that GP is flat in every direction. Equal altitude in all directions, flat bottom to the triangle no matter where you draw from on that circle. So it's all flat. There's no way around that. You're saying, no, it's not. But that really isn't an actual rebuttal. It's just you saying, no, it isn't flat.
I could post something. Eli gave it to me.
Cool. Okay. What is it?
Okay, hold on. Let me go grab that.
Can I?
No. Not go grab it. What is it?
Can I quote? Can I hold on? Can I quote exactly? Can I quote Akumu virus? No, wait a minute.
Hold on, Virus. Go ahead, Eli.
Thank you. I just want to, because I want you guys to understand Akumu virus's point, because we're right, but you have to understand what his point is. So I quote Akumu virus. That circle of equal altitude is possible on a globe. It's like putting a dunce hat, parentheses, the cone, on a ball. Where the cone touches the ball, it will be equal distance from the center of that ball. That's geometry. End quote.
Mm-hmm. I could overcome that nonsense in a heartbeat.
Yeah, straight line. Straight line along the bottom. Not dunce hat along the bottom. Straight line for triangulation along the bottom to do triangulation there. What are you talking about? Cone? No.
This is what he's saying. Virus. What is 90 degrees to you?
Straight above you.
That's straight above you down to you, one straight line, correct?
That's a zenith.
Above you?
That's a zenith.
That's a zenith. What is 90 degrees? How do you get 90 degrees?
90 degrees from your line of sight.
You're muttering there.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stepped away from. I was doing something, but stepping 90 degrees right above your eyesight. 90, like straight above you compared to your eyesight. That would be 90 degrees.
Right, you realise that we're doing this with stars, though. Sorry, Virus. It's being done with a star in the distance, not your position. You're getting 90 degrees to the GP of the star, not you. So, between you...
But this is after...
Chill there, Virus.
Can I ask something?
While I'm in the middle of explaining something to you, can you ask a question? Maybe you're scared of this. So, we're not drawing a zenith from you. We're drawing a zenith, if you will, from the star. Its GP is a straight line from the star to the ground. Do you understand that bit?
Yep.
Okay. Wherever that is, that GP of the star, you've also got a 90 degree from that straight line down from the star to you, wherever you may be. Do you understand? Of course, the question that's going to be put to you is going to get a question to me in the middle of it, isn't it, Virus? Try again.
No, I want to understand.
Yeah, you're just going to keep talking. The conclusion's coming. Shut the fuck up. So, do you appreciate that you've got a zenith for the star? That would be a plumb line from the star to the ground. And where it hits the ground, we're going to have a 90 degree angle and a straight line to your feet. Do you understand?
Is this before the sextant or after the sextant?
We've not mentioned a sextant at all to this point. I've
I
only
know.
described.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, the sextant gives you the angle in your triangle. The final line is from your feet to the star. So from your feet to the star, that's one straight line. From the star to the ground, another straight vertical line. And that vertical line is going to be met with another straight line that's flat along the bottom and can only be flat because it's going to form a 90-degree angle with the zenith of the star. Do you understand?
I understand some of that. I get it.
Speak up, please.
I get it.
Could help.
I get it.
Okay, so we've got a 90-degree from the zenith of the star to your feet, regardless of how far away that GP, the point below the star, is. So a line down vertically from the star, and then a line horizontally to your feet, and then another line to complete the triangle between you and the star. You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Excellent. Now, explain to me if that bottom line from your feet to the star that must form a 90-degree angle is bent. How do you do the triangulation when we need a 90-degree angle to do it?
Just aim at the horizon. It makes a straight line.
Welcome to Flat Earth. So not bent at the rate of 7/6 of a radius, not falling away as a curved Earth is claimed to do then. That would be yet another concession from Virus that the Earth is flat. Straight line to the horizon would make Earth flat.
Okay.
Yes, it would.
Okay. If you think that, I'll go with that. If you want to think that, I have no problem with that.
Sorry, you just said it.
No, I didn't say anything about the Earth being flat.
Sorry, you said that the line to the horizon is straight. According to the globe Earth rhetoric, the ground beneath you is falling away at 8 inches per mile squared, and the horizon is the edge limit of that sphere. You've said the line to the horizon is straight, that makes it flat, Virus. Don't you understand that your rhetoric has got the ground falling away as a spherical shape? Because you seem to be telling us it's flat and then saying, no, I didn't say it's flat, when I said the line to the horizon is not curving at 8 inches per mile.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't? Hey, audience. This is an anti-flat earther telling us that the line between us and our limit of view shouldn't bend at 8 inches per mile squared and is straight. Welcome to Flat Earth, Virus.
It would work that way on a globe.
Do you want to speak up? Be clear.
It would work that way on a globe.
It wouldn't work that way on a globe. It doesn't work that way on a globe because we're not on a globe. Welcome to Flat Earth.
It would work that way on a globe.
Okay, so we've got a line from the star to the ground that's vertical.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a line that's straight to our feet. It must be straight because we're getting a 90-degree angle from it, Virus. Now, can you explain how this triangulation's done if the line between your feet and the GP has dropped in vertical space and is no longer giving you a 90-degree angle because the bottom line is bent? Can you explain that to me, please, if this works on a globe?
Because when you're on the globe, don't matter which elevation you are literally, but the closer you are to the ground, maybe the better. That's why you use it over water. But at the same time, you're aiming at the horizon. It doesn't matter if it's curving away from you or if it's just a flat plane. You're looking straight at the horizon. You take your sextant, aim the first mirror at the horizon. You take your second mirror, aim at a celestial body, and put that on the horizon using the second mirror on your first mirror. I don't understand why you need a straight line from your feet. All you're doing is aiming at the horizon. That's how you calibrate the sextant.
I've just explained. Do you want me to explain for a third time? Tenth's explained it 4 times.
No,
I've explained it 3.
You don't have.
You're going to talk straight through. You don't understand, but you're going to start talking through me. Why?
You asked me a question. I gave you an answer. You don't have to.
I don't have to explain
The reason
that.
we've got a disconnect here is a simple lack of comprehension, Virus, of the definition. The definition is a circle of equal altitude, a circle, not, as what you're describing, a circumference. So when we've got a circle that includes the whole of the plane that it generates, that is what creates your flat bottom for you to do your angles, do your triangulation on. But listen to the definition. It's quite clear. It is a circle, which means the whole shape, not the circumference, which would, if you put that circumference on a ball, create a circle of equal altitude. However, the center would be at a different height, which is the point Nathan's making to you. But understand the definition, because that seems to be where your disconnect is.
No, hey Eli, why don't you post what you posted for me?
Did I not just be Eli? Mate, respond to the point, dude. Do you understand? It's not
Eli
a circumference
literally posted what I want to
equal
reply
altitude.
with that width.
It's a circle of equal altitude, not a circumference. Do you understand that?
Eli,
point?
it
Do you
doesn't say
understand
surface
that,
area.
Completely ignoring you and just chanting Eli, 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 save me
Eli,
from this point. Save me, Eli. Yeah, save me, Eli.
Okay, never mind, Eli. Don't. I'll just go search for it myself.
So it's not a circumference; it's a circle. Did Adam's point not reach you? What's going on?
I understand it. He also doesn't say surface area.
This
of
is
a
now
circle
your
either.
point.
All it says is circle. All it says is circle. That's it.
Yeah, three
It doesn't
circles.
say surface
Yeah,
area
it doesn't
or
just say
anything.
circle. Stop. Circle of equal altitude.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's flat. Not curving away 8 inches per mile squared, because that's not an area of equal altitude, is it?
I know why he wants to go to Eli's citation, because that's the globe rhetoric. Now, Nathan, in Master B, I posted some slides. Just go to the first one. For the advice, go look at the slide, please. Just look
How
at
am I
this one
supposed
slide.
to
If
see
you
it?
Discord?
Okay, are you gonna post it in Discord?
I don't know how, but someone will.
Okay, that's fine. That's cool. Thank you.
Starts
Adam,
with
can you post it on Discord?
starts with 2 yellow balls and 2 green balls, right? 3 green balls.
It's got.
Hey, Eli, it's page 2.
Okay.
Posted page 1. I appreciate it, Eli.
It's got 3 illustrations on it. The sun on the horizon with the waggle with the sextant until it's the proper tangent point touching.
I think I've got the right one. The very last one you sent, or the first one.
Yeah, it came backwards probably.
I've got the first. I think I've got the right one. It's got a ball at the bottom with an oval with the sun above it, a triangle with the sun above it, and then 3 circles on a line.
Yeah. Can someone send this to Discord? So basically here, the top one is showing you the proper way and the wrong way to bring the sun to the horizon, the flat plane horizon. And you can see it says wrong on the right 2 ones, and then the one to the very left where it's just barely touching the horizon. That's when you take your reading and also find out what time it is. So you could refer to the almanac. The second one shows you from an orthographic view, which the ballers gotta love this, how it's being done. So there's that sun, and it's brought down by the mirror to depict what you're seeing on the first illustration on top as you waggle it. And you can see it's got a 90 degree. It's a triangulation in this orthographic view. So it's got to be flat all the way to the GP of the sun, to your GP, where you, the observer, are triangulating to see what the hypotenuse is of this triangle. Then you've got the bottom picture showing circle of equal altitude, which can be thousands of miles, where the GP of the sun is in the middle of that circle, and you are somewhere on that circle. But no matter where you are on that circle, you're equidistant from the GP, equal distance anywhere from that circle to the ground position of the sun. It's zenith over that part of the earth. Now, how are you going to know an angle without that middle picture being true? You need a 90 degree from the GP of the sun to your GP to achieve an angle. Virus says you can do it with a bent line. He just destroyed geometry.
It even shows it in the bottom picture, because they want to convolute it because it's a sphere depiction. They've got your line, which is vertical in this depiction, but that's effectively the horizontal line that gives you 90 degrees to the GP of the sun in this example. But their line isn't 90 degrees to it. If you look at the bottom one, the blue sun.
Yeah, it's got a little curve, but all the rest of that I showed do have it at the full 90. Well, the middle one tells you how it has to be.
Yeah.
Go to the next slide. You see, if you do 3 of these, it shows you, the observer, where all 3 cross. That's where you are in the vast ocean. And the luminary in each one of these 3 circles is in the center of the circle. And it's equal distance from anywhere on the circle to that particular luminary. So Virus needs to see these pictures because he can't understand English, nor does he know what a 90-degree angle is when he keeps citing it. And then the third picture shows the blue globe with the actual 90 degrees with the 3 stars. You've seen this one before, right?
I don't know if I have, but yes, it's a dome-like picture with the actual zenith shown.
Yeah, the 3 stars over the blue globe with the 3 circles of equal altitude with the red dot for the observer.
I think
I'm on the right one now. Backwards for some reason.
Yeah, I think I've got it up. I've got 3 circles on a globe now with 3 level lines going with all the different lines coming in at different angles. It looks like a right mess.
Yep. And then the one next to that one is the azimuth and the altitude with the dome over the flat circle. Do you see that one?
Yeah, I've got that one now.
Yeah, see, this is what's happening. They're taking it says to the GP, and look, it says horizon. But we can only see the horizon with our limited field view of our eye to a certain distance. But if the star is 3,000 miles away, as you can see here, that line has to continue to the GP of that star 3,000 miles away. And it has to be a straight line, or you can't achieve an angle. This is so bad for Virus. He's trying to destroy how to get an angle to keep his anti-flat Earth rhetoric going. You can scroll through the rest. It's easy commentary. The ships at sea using the horizon. If you're on that one.
Let's just draw it in on the boat one. So we've got the boat one. The guy's utilising the horizon to get his straight, flat line that could potentially be out to a star that has a GP that's thousands of miles away from where this boat is sighting it. So they've got their theodolite and they're getting the angle to the star. And then you've got a vertical line that comes down to meet the horizontal line at 90 degrees. So with the exception of an account for the dip, which is merely how far above the level ground that you're going to be utilising, you've got a straight line from your position out to the GP of the star. Now in this depiction, the GP of the star would be simply here. But because it's Muppet Vision, I can assign whatever length I like to any of these lines. So I'm going to say that this line, the horizontal line from the theodolite out to the GP of the star, where we're going to draw a 90-degree angle to do triangulation with, I'm going to say that that's 1,000 miles. So this star has got a ground position below it 1,000 miles, way beyond the horizon that was originally used to calibrate the theodolite at 0. It's miles and miles and miles beyond that. But in order for this to work, we have to assume that the ground position is out at 1,000 miles on a level surface, because we're going to be drawing a 90-degree to it wherever it sits above the ground. Completely horizontal from where you're sighting it. Sorry, 10th, carry on.
If you go to the next picture of the same ship, do you see the next one?
Yeah, star A, star B. A picture of a theodolite.
Yeah. So here, well, it's actually sextant here on the ship, and if we're looking at the same image, you could see it says dip correction accounts for height above sea level. So all he's got to do is minus that to get the proper angle. But he's got to have a 90 degree. And then you've got the angle to the star, which equates in celestial navigation for distances. It is for distances. And what is that? That is the GP to U. That's the distance you're measuring. That's why it's called a circle of equal altitude. Anywhere on that circle is the same distance to the GP of that sun or star. Look at the books. It says that's over here at this time of day, and it says you're 2,400 miles away. So now you're 2,400 miles away from that star at that moment in time when you took your reading. Problem is, you just don't know where you are on that circle. So you take a second reading from a second star, or you wait an hour or two, shoot the sun again, and do the reverse, move the circle back, make some time adjustments, and the circles cross. And the two places it crosses, you're at one of those points. And since you've been on the ocean, you know exactly which part you're on because of the previous day's navigation. You know where you are. And that's how you do it, Virus. You need a 90 degree. You can't get down the curved surface. You don't even know what 90 degree is. And you keep saying 90 degree.
So as this depiction's on screen, we're going to get 2 of the 3 stars needed to triangulate our position from this boat. We're going to stick our theodolite and look at this star with a straight line to the horizon. And that's going to form our 0 horizontal line, regardless of how many thousands of miles away this star is in terms of its geographical position. So this has a straight line coming down from it. We'll call it the zenith of the star, giving it its geographical position below. And then a straight line out along the flat plane that we live on to it to get 90 degrees. And everything around that forms a circle. So you've got the geographical position of the star, that's its ground position below it, and then a circle around it. Because you've started off your triangle, and then imagine once you've got your triangle with 90 degrees, you spin it around, and that gives you your circle, like a protractor, or a compass, sorry, spinning around like the triangle that you've just measured with your angle to the star and the horizon. So that's star number 1. Then you do the exact same thing. So just to summarize, you've got a circle that comes out from this triangulation point all around this star B. And then you do the same thing for star A. You get a 90 degree from a horizontal out to, let's say it's 2,000 miles away. In this case, the ground position below the star, the zenith below the star with a vertical line to the ground, forms 90 degrees, even though it's 1,000 miles away. Not dropping away. Wouldn't work if we dropped this position away 8 inches per mile squared at 2,000 miles. Definitely wouldn't work. We just draw a straight line because we're going to be getting a 90 degree triangle to this star. Then we've got 2 circles. We've got our first circle around this triangle, and now we've got a second circle that goes all the way off screen for me. So that gives us 2 points where these 2 circles cross. We're going to need a third star to make them all intersect at 1 point so we can get our exact location. Now for us, we've only got 2 stars on this diagram, but if we did it off screen over here somewhere for a third star, where I pretend, just for you watching and haven't got the picture that I have, let's pretend that where this number 80 or whatever it is in this diagram, that's 3-dimensionally out towards us in the frame. So that's a third star. And we do the exact same thing. We draw our angle from our theodolite. We utilize the fact that Earth is flat to get a horizontal with a 0 line at the horizon. And beyond the horizon, this star happens to be 2,500 miles away from our position. It's massive triangulation in this instance. And then we draw a straight line down from the star, a horizontal line to our position, and the angle back to it from our theodolite. And then we've got our 3 circles. I'm just going to take this off screen so I can then show exactly what I've just done, because I've got that diagram somewhere here as well. Just need to actually find it. It's going to take me forever. Of course. Oh, damn it, you. I'm just going to show the 3. Yeah, I'm going to go to the 3. What I want is the 3 circles. I've got it. There we go. I've got it. There we go. So, although you've just seen it in Muppet Vision, now you can see it in a top-down view. So this isn't looking at a sphere, this is just looking at a circle representing an area of equal elevation. And from our boat, which we were just looking at a minute ago, down here, from our boat, that's going to represent the position in the centre, which is called the fix. And our 3 stars that we just used to get 90 degrees to them with the theodolite, it's all depicted on screen here. That's how you get your exact location. But in order to do it, every line out to every single GP of each star that you use, 3 of them, is going to be straight and flat. And if it wasn't, this would not work.
I have a question.
Let's end with... Yeah, hang on one second.
Just
let's end with
summarise,
last...
then yes, whoever that was. Go ahead.
Do you see the slide that I made with the 3 red lines? It's either second to the left or second to the front, depending how slides came over.
On the ball, showing the same thing not working on a ball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I got
you
that
see
up now.
here, so the zenith of the observer is right there on top. It says zenith of observer. So he's shooting the star with a sextant, let's say. Well, that line under him directly is a tangent line. It's straight. The horizon would be there. It would continue on the plane. Now, if those lights from star 2 and star 1 have zenith position over a ball, you could see the zenith position would be coming in at those angles because it has to go to the center of the Earth for them, which is a circle, not a sphere, because we don't live on a sphere. But in order for that to happen, I drew those other lines because you'd need a 90 to those. And this is where Adam comes in and says you can't even do this because of the 8 inches per mile square. It's fallen away from you. Like you see GP star 1 and GP star 2, that's fallen away from you. But in reality, what's happening, if you look at the level red line on the top of this depiction, the star is somewhere on that. That's how they do it. And then they say, well, we can achieve the same thing from the central angle from a circle. Well, absolutely, in geometry, you can. Of a circle, 2-dimensional on a piece of paper, but not on the ocean. When the star's 2,400 miles away from you with 8 inches per mile square drop, it can't happen there.
Firstly, okay, who wanted to ask a question from Discord?
Yeah, that was me. Sorry if this was already explained. I'm driving. I get distracted. I don't hear absolutely everything. I did hear you need 3 GPs to triangulate your position, correct?
That's correct.
Well, you can do it with 2, but you'd be in one of 2 crossings. When you do a third, it's isolated to 1 only.
Did you follow that?
Yeah, but during the day, when the only thing in the sky is the sun, how do you get 2 GPs?
Wait.
I said that earlier. What they do is they shoot the sun.
Well, again,
and then they wait
I
a couple.
apologize. I didn't hear that.
It's okay. He did disclaim that he might have missed a 10th. Just explain again, utilising the sun.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm not mad at him. Yeah, I explained that earlier. So when they shoot the sun and it's during the day and they can't see another star or anything in the sky, they wait a couple of hours. They shoot it again. Then they note the times of the both sightings. They make the adjustment, as the Nautical Almanac says. They bring the latter sighting, the later one in the day, bring it over until it crosses the first one. They do low math, and they know exactly where they are. That's how they do it with one body. They just have to wait a couple of hours.
Thank you very much. I didn't catch that. Wait a little bit longer. Okay, thank you.
It's just a lot easier and quicker if you're doing it at night because you can use your almanac and just pick 3 different stars and just do it on the spot there and then. So like the depiction on screen, you've got these 2 different stars and then you've got another one over here that are all nice and clear and you can look them up and go, okay, right, now we know exactly where these GPs are going to be. But in order for the triangulation functionality to work, you've got to be drawing a line out to them straight to then draw circles on areas of equal altitude. Otherwise the maths falls apart. As soon as it all starts falling away as per this depiction, you've suddenly got, as 10th has just described very admirably, this is the line that would be representative of this line on my depiction with the boat. So each of the stars is going to be drawn down to the exact same horizontal line to do the triangulation. As you can see on screen now, star A to a flat surface to the boat gives you a 90. Star B to the surface to the boat gives you a 90. and then a third star that I use back over here with my 80 or whatever number this is, down to the same flat plane, and then out to your position gives you your 90. 3 positions to triangulate with. Here's the depiction from top down. You in the boat taking 3 flat surfaces, and then the angle to each of the stars. As soon as you put that onto a globe, this is the only representation that depicts the same thing happening. The top line giving you 90 degrees from your own zenith and from the zenith of each of the stars. But then we haven't got the starlight coming down to this line to make a 90 over here, and another one coming down over here to make a 90, and another one coming down over here to make a 90, because in three-dimensional reality, each of those circles out to your left, to your right, behind you, are all considered to be on a flat plane so that they can all adhere to this line, with the GP being directly above the star. Now on the globe, the GP is coming in at an angle, and you've got 3 different lines for 3 different GPs with 3 different 90s that are no longer achievable on the single line that you're actually referencing when you do triangulation. So this makes each star's position fall away from you in 3-dimensional space. So suddenly, when you mark out where the starlight is above the ground, it's suddenly dropped away from that position. In this case, on, what is it, light from star 1, it's considerably, over here. Well, that's going to mess up everything to do with triangulation, not least to mention the fact that the line between it and you is now curved. So it fails on its arse completely. It simply does not function correctly on a globe and cannot be done.
Yeah, and the virus says the horizon. Well, that straight red line on the top, that is the horizon. Horizontal, straight. And that's where it's being done from. Then fooling the ballers that they're getting it from the center. And like I said, what destroys everything about the way they address celestial navigation is they need the sunlight to be parallel in order to even show anything from the center of the earth. And they even say it's imaginary, it's assumed, and it's theoretical that they're taking the measurement from the center of the earth. They have never taken a measurement from the center of the earth. It's always been from the surface of the earth. And then by saying sunlight comes in parallel, they could do this little drawing and say, well, if it came in parallel, the same angle on the center of the earth would have to be corresponding angle on the surface. So there you go. No,
why could they never give us a measurement from the center of the earth, Dent?
It's a presupposition. It's not something you can measure, even if it was true.
They did. Hang on. They did in their presupposition. It's 3959, and we already debunked it with the black swan, so it proves they never had one.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you also to you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, and for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.